Good afternoon, morning, evening, or night, or whatever it is where you are. We have a Dane on the moon. No, not the moon. On his way to the space station. And I don't know what time of day it is to him. But this is Ranzee's usual Synth Geekery show, and I'm here to introduce it. And I have some guests. And Ranzee will come later, so I'm only here to annoy you in the beginning.
You're never annoying.
I'm always annoying. At least I try to. Let's before I introduce you, which all of us know, let's see who's in the chat. The first one was Macrodosed. And then Future World Machines, Wagoo, Prometheus, Kev Human, and then it's repeating. Lady Aptitude. Did I say Wagoo? I think I did. Yeah. Synchrotron and Scrape and Ian is there too. And boom, 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 boom. That's about... JP Page 2 and Dr. Synth. Yes, good morning. Yes, let's start with Ian. How has your week been?
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night. How's my week been? I'm back from Edinburgh Fringe, finally, because obviously last week I was trying to dial into the show from a bar, which kept filling up. I'm actually back to normality for a little bit anyway, but then I have to go. We're still trying to, we sold this house, so this house is gone. I'm trying to find a house down south, so I'm going back down south again in the middle of the week to have a look at some more houses. And I'm trying to buy boxes to move house, but apart from that, everything's normal, really. It's actually just nice to be home for a while, because I think I've only been here 2 days in the whole of the month so far, you know. And I have not played with any synthesizers.
So you're selling the house? I always thought it was a shop you were in, with the way you have your keyboards hanging.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, it was. Most of them have been put into storage because obviously I needed this to look more like an office than a studio. But literally the first person that came round to look at the house bought it. And in fact, she's coming back to measure up on Tuesday, I think. I am. Wagoo, I am homeless at the moment till I find somewhere. We may have to go into rented accommodation if we can't find the house we want.
The mixer behind you, is it the Tascam?
Yeah, it's the Tascam 24, model 24.
24.
Yeah.
Is it the one that received an update this week?
I don't know, actually. I've not checked. Last update,
there was an update.
Yeah, I mean, I never use it. I don't think it's very good as an audio interface. I think it's great as a mixer. And I do, you know, if I'm doing sort of live jams with the synths, I would record to the SD card that's in there, which is great, you know. But I need to check on that, because I last did an update probably, must have been a few months ago. There was an update that came. I'd be interested to know what they've changed. You know, have they made it a better in audio interface?
There was some trouble with if you gained too much, which was needed, it would distort.
Right.
That should be fixed now, where you can do a digital gain. Some of the channels you can set each individual channel for 6 or 12 dB. I think it was 6 or 12.
All right.
So those two.
I have to say I've never had that problem, you know. But there again, I am just using it as a mixer, and a mixer to record in each individual channel onto an SD card.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Chris. So, how have your week been?
Oh yeah, my week's been fairly good. I haven't seen you for 2 weeks actually. But, last week was my dad's 90th birthday, So I was spending a bit of time doing a few special things for him because it's a pretty big milestone, 90. So
Happy birthday, Chris's dad.
yeah, happy birthday, Chris. Yeah. So there's something he does for all of the family whenever we have a birthday. He puts up a display of photographs on a wall and a big happy birthday. So we decided for the first time to do a return favour on that, which was quite a surprise for him. And he's a real buff about printing photos and all that kind of stuff. So there was some stuff going way back. We're talking black and white photos and stuff like that. So yeah, that was... spent a bit of time with that, so that kind of occupied me most of that last week. Plus, we've also given him a decent birthday present this year. I got him a new computer, so of course comes with free tech support.
Yeah.
So you know how it goes. So I've been setting that up a bit for him this week. So that's that's the non-synth stuff. For the synthy stuff, been hard at work getting to the finish line on the GP82 firmware, and I'm pleased to say that I think we're there. So I think I'll be sending out some emails tomorrow to the beta testing team to start making arrangements to get their units to them. So that'll be good. I got the 960 sequencer mode working. Brooksy asked for that, so he'll be pleased about that. Yeah, so pretty much that, and I've been doing a bit of work with the old TR6 again. I talked about this before, but I've been getting quite deep into the editing of the actual effects and all that kind of stuff. So I was talking before about how I'd quite enjoyed the samples, the old drum machine samples. Well, I was getting really lost for hours just in the processing of them on this machine and starting to write new patterns and getting quite deep, so very synthy there for a moment. I haven't done much on the texture lab, unfortunately, except prepare a crap ton of samples for it. But I haven't actually uploaded them yet because it takes quite a long time over MIDI. But yeah, it's been on my mind, but I haven't actually been able to get into it because, as I said, this fortnight's been a bit busy with social things and stuff like that. So that's pretty much been my fortnight. But
Yeah. My week has been tough. Been working with lots of work at work. And then I've also prepared for the end of next week, Friday, Saturday. I don't know yet if I will make the online release party on Friday or Saturday. I think it will be Saturday, though it's released on Friday. But I've made 5 of 8 videos now, and only need the 3 last. And it's not advanced videos, so it's just some graphics, so people don't get totally bored. It's not art. The music may be, but that's up to people to judge. So that's my week. News. Have anybody heard about Waldorf and Kyra? They are discontinuing the Kyra.
no, I hadn't heard that.
No, I mean, I've been completely out of it. I only got back from Edinburgh yesterday. The days are still mixed up, really. So I've not seen any news at all. Of course, I haven't had a chance to watch PSN from last night, so I don't know whether there was anything on there either.
Oh, I hope you did read the news. I didn't. I just got this job by Ranzee 2 hours ago. Yeah. So I just try to do what I can. But they are discontinuing the Kyra, and I think it's sad. I know it's not built by or made by Waldorf itself. It's an external another person who made it and got Waldorf to finance the release of it. I think it was called Valkyrie or something before. I'm not sure. Um, um, but it's sad because I really wanted to get the Kyra, and now I invested in the Iridium, and I have to wait for months before I can buy anything again. And now they're discontinuing it. That's sad. Yeah. So, well, that's how it goes. And then there's Behringer. They are mentioning the what is it called? It's an
UBXA?
No, not that one. We can check that one after. But it's an old Russian synthesizer.
Oh, the Polyvox. The Polyvox.
Yeah, the Polyvox.
Yeah.
They are about to get ready to do something about it, to release it. Are you going to get one of those?
Oh, maybe. It's the first time I really paid much attention to it when I saw the post this week. It's funny actually. I looked at it and said it's a very similar form factor to the Model D. Seems they've used the same switchgear. It's the first thing I saw. It said I thought, oh, someone's taken the Model D and transplanted Polyvox into it. But I'm sure that's just because it's a pre-production graphic. But well, I have to hear it. Same as what we all say. You have to hear it before you decide whether you want it. But it's interesting. I'm always just interested in what comes out. So yeah. But I have far too many synths already, and I'm only just beginning to really get stuff out of them, get deep into them. So always try to tell yourself get the most out of what you got first.
That's really true, Chris. Actually, and I need to do more of that. I really do. I never, obviously, I've never played an original Polyvox. I'm only really interested in synths that I've played before. So, Behringer talked about doing a VCS3. Now, VCS3, I would want one of them, but I'm not so sure about the Polyvox.
No. I also think I'm not sure. The Polyvox is monophonic, right?
Yeah.
So I would also rather like something polyphonic. So the UBXA or their Prophet or what they will call it when it comes. That's more my ball game, I think. So, any other news you know about the UBXA? You talked about that, Chris.
Oh, they just Behringer just reaffirmed that the UBXA is pre-production models or something shipping. They showed they did the usual thing of showing boxes inside a lift in a factory somewhere in Thailand or wherever it is they make that stuff now. So yeah, as I said, that joke is obviously going to keep on going on because everyone was panning them for they'll never make it, and they're going to be forever panning everyone who was panning them forever, saying they're never going to make it. I think we get it, and I think we're all pretty bored of this tit for tat stuff. So that's all I'm going to say about that topic for now.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm interested in the UBXA. Maybe not, because there are many Oberheim plugins, and they all sounds great, but there's something good, something fat about it, which I love. But also the way the voices shift and are handled.
Assigned.
It's not assigned. It's not easy to tweak it in a hardware synth compared to the software synth. So I would have to see how they handle that in the clone here.
I guess it's sometimes the problem with cloning hardware synths is that sometimes the people have reinvented better ways of doing certain things, particularly when there's an overlap between what a synth did from the 80s or 70s to what we've reimagined it to do now. And if you don't, if none of that stuff that's happened recently is informing anything from the past, you kind of feel as though they're missing a trick there. I mean, because that's what we want to see. I think we want to see, yes, we want to hear the sound of these old beautiful instruments coming back and being reachable, attainable, but we'd really like them to be imagined for the modern generation.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think we all agree there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of software synths, but the only time, and I have got the Arturia, collection. But I'd like a good hardware synth, but I'm certainly not interested in collecting synths just almost for the sake of it. If I need the sound of X synth and I'm working on a project, then that's when I would use a software synth. Whereas if I'm going to go out and play live, I will use hardware. So I'm not. I'm certainly not interested in the UBXA. Also, it's big, My studio, this studio is small. It looks like my next studio will certainly be no bigger, if a little bit smaller. So we'll worry about that when the day comes. I mean, the reason I use slat wall is because this is a room I can almost touch the size of the walls. So you need to have a big room if you're going to have lots of big synths.
Or a TARDIS.
Or a TARDIS, yeah. Now
Bigger on the inside than the outside.
Yeah. That would be great, actually.
That's my wallet too. It's I think it's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, of late, the things I've been buying have been quite small. And I've quite liked having little sort of small boxes that I might be able to go out and play with live at some point, if not straight away. Once I get my head round exactly what's going on.
By the way, I did invite Darren and Andy too. Both Andys. But they didn't turn up. But let's see, they can come later. I think I will post the link for other people to join if they want to.
Cool.
So I just have to find it. Yeah. So join the stream if you want to. Here's a link. Boom, 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 boom. There were some other news Ranzee mentioned for me. IntelliGel have made a stomp and a C-Lex, and I know absolutely nothing about that.
Yeah.
So,
I'm afraid I was waiting for the show to learn these things, but I didn't do my research.
We were thrown into it.
If it was last week, I would have done it. It's ironic I wasn't on last week. I'd done no research last week. Let's see.
By the way, last week I was. It was again with an hour's alert. No, what is it called?
Short notice.
Yeah, short notice. That I was on. So if I had longer and knew that you weren't there, then I would have made a mask. Dark beard and
Very good. Yes.
I have to say, I did watch most of the Widdy conversation, and I thought it was quite interesting actually, because that Widdy, and it was good that Ranzee actually did that sort of on the fly demo, because he made it look quite easy. So it is something that I will consider for the next studio, as to whether it solves a problem to some extent, doesn't it? If you're going to get away from running cables everywhere,
but if it's a smaller room, you don't need long cables.
No, that's true. I mean, literally, because the cables, most of them have been moved now, but they went from here round to there, so they weren't long runs.
But how many times have you ever gone looking for that one MIDI cable and you can't find it? I just want to plug this in, but where's the? I know it's here somewhere, but that would be the advantage. Having the MIDI somewhere always available and just go.
And I did
record.
I did put notes on cables, but actually they're little stickers and stuff. But then they fall off over time.
Well, it's not so much finding what MIDI cables, it's finding them, because sometimes in a darkened room and you got black MIDI cables and you've got hundreds of other cables dangling down there. I've got my patch leads on a tree, and you just get too overwhelmed with visual. You can't pick out a MIDI cable when you want to. And
let's face it, we've got too many cables. Full stop. I mean,
yes.
I mean, there's still loads of cables around here, but I have 3 full boxes of cables. When I took most of the synths down,
and each time you need to.
We have a terrible habit of retaining our cables. I think it's part of the synth gene. Retention of cables. I might be able to use it one day.
Exactly. Yeah.
Each time I need to connect a synth, I draw a new cable. And so I have so many non-used cables lying behind the desk. One day I have to clean it up. One day. Boom, boom, boom.
Waggle's just asking, is my mic loud enough? Because Waggle's just asking for it to be a bit louder. I've just turned it up as far as I can. Is that all right? 1, 2.
Chris is always a little hot. I don't know if I am, but could be.
I try to keep in shape. Thanks, Henrik.
I'm sure they'll tell me in the chat room if it's too loud or too quiet.
It's intimate, Ian.
Intimate.
You're ASMRing us.
Oh, look. Hello.
That's it. Cable management.
I say I'm not using the microphone today, but I am. Is that, you can hear that? Yeah.
I can hear that. Yep.
FM. Oh no.
So, Michael goes, I am using this mic and not that mic.
That's how Robbie gets home. He just says, "There's no place like FM. There's no place like FM."
And you can't even pronounce that word. Yeah, it's wrong from the beginning. Okay, enough of that.
Rant.
He's not in the chat to defend himself either, is he?
Oh, he'll probably hear about it.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. Yeah.
And he can take it, I'm sure. I've always wondered what kind of mics or what are the mics you are using on these streams?
Me? This?
Yeah, let's start with you. Yeah.
This is a Rode NTS2, NT2A.
Yeah, why did you select it?
Price more than I bought a pair of them, to be fair. So I've got they're not a matched pair, but they are a pair. So yeah, I know, and I'd used them before, and they're Australian Rode, aren't they? They're reliable. I've never had any trouble with it, and like I say, I've got 2 of them, so they're fairly reasonable. I don't know how much they are now, but they weren't that expensive when I bought them,
But you have mounted it upside down. Aren't you afraid the sound will run out?
It could do. I've got a bucket just down here, just to get the sound.
You've got to collect the gold sintering.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Chris, what is your microphone?
My mic's just a really old Studio Projects B1, which is one of the really early Chinese condenser mic knockoffs that was in the late 90s, early noughties, which we bought for our band when we were doing it years ago, when I ended up using it for the film, and it just pretty much fell out as sounding okay, so it went on the stream. So I can't claim to have done any kind of effort and research. I did buy the boom.
Yeah. I tell you what.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've just looked up the price of an NT2A, and the price has shot up because Gear for Music in the UK are doing it well. I bought this as a pack, so I bought the mic. It came with one of these. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
And a few other bits and pieces, a basket and stuff. £340 now, which I don't think I paid anywhere near that when I bought mine. You know, I mean, if you'd have asked me, I'd have said I paid £100 for them, but maybe I didn't.
Yeah, they seem to have come back into all of the road mics seem to be doing very well at the moment.
Yeah.
I think they've had such a great reputation boost from the streaming, sort of doing your own YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because they've obviously done a great job of.
I mean, I've certainly had it. Oh God, it must be. Well, I've been here 9 years, so I probably had it 10 years. You know, so I've had it a good long time, and it's never done. I mean, occasionally I swap them out and use the other one if I'm doing other things, but or you having to use a pair. But generally, certainly since lockdown, it's lived on this boom arm, you know. But expensive. I said I bought it because it was cheap. It's not anymore.
Yeah, but at least you use it for music and recording instruments, I guess.
Yeah.
I've
used it.
This one was a cheap one. And,
I mainly use it for vocals, to be fair, recording vocals.
Yep.
I think I've got a couple of the Rhodes. Might be the same one as those, Ian. But
yeah, it's got there's the NT1A, which hasn't got. There's a little panel here with.
Oh, it's the one I've got.
Yeah,
it's definitely the one. But I've joined now because this is my streaming mic. Does it sound okay?
Yeah.
You see
actually sounds all right.
Yeah,
£20.
Yeah.
£20 off Amazon.
Yeah.
But I got this because I tried my stream. I started live streaming earlier in the year, and my live streams were. That's not to say they're any good now, but back then they were even worse. And because as you can see, I've got a modular at the back of me. I've got keyboards to the side of that, and I'm sometimes sat at my keyboard, my computer keyboard as well. So I needed something to follow me around because just operating on the one mic just doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
So I got this Lavalier, or I think it's Lavalier or lapel mic.
Yeah, just spill it. Everyone spills it.
Yeah, I never say it right. And it comes with a little clip. You can clip it to your clothes.
Yeah.
Which is okay, but it picks up any sort of like little rustling and stuff with you.
Yeah.
So I come up with this idea of just like a gamer. So but I did try to make a little thing for it, and I thought,
right.
No, that just looks terrible. So I just put it at the side of the headphones, and that seems to be okay now. I've watched some of my live streams back, and it seems to be okay for £20.
Yeah, it's a bit roomy, but that's fine for this kind of conversations and stuff. It's not noisy.
So. It's not. I'm not recording equipment and stuff. I've got a Sonority condenser mic. I've got that from Dawson's quite a few years ago, actually. It's still in the box because that just shows you how much I use it.
Nice box, though.
Yeah. So that's the Sonority. They're supposed to be quite a good mic, but it wasn't the dear one. It was like, I don't know, £100, some £120. But I'm an ambient musician, so I don't even record anything hardly. So, and you've got to be really good. I mean, I've got an acoustic guitar, but you've got to know what you're doing, I think, to record acoustic instruments, and I don't, so it hardly ever gets used.
Well, last time I recorded an acoustic guitar, I was 13 or 14. It had 3 strings left when I was done.
Yeah, you're supposed to put new ones on, Henry.
You're doing it all wrong.
You come off.
Well,
No other
I have to
guitarist
say-
here then.
No, I'm a
I don't know how to play the guitar, but I know how to make noise.
The other mic, the other pair of mics I've got is a pair of SM58s, which are just they're just industry standards, aren't they?
Workhorse,
That's right,
yeah,
yeah.
workhorse
Absolutely
mics.
brilliant. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know.
I've
Right
got the
down
I've got a not the 58. It's the SM57 beta.
57, yeah.
57 is the same capsule. It's a different head, but it's exactly the
Yeah.
same capsule.
It's got the
Yeah, I got it for miking up snares.
Yeah, great for that. Yeah. Or amps, guitar amps.
Yeah, because they are a very close sort of.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing about mics, but they were supposed to be pretty good.
No, they
And
are
then
great.
the only other mic I've got is a bass drum mic, which is never going to get used again as long as I live. I need to give it. I've got so much stuff in here. I need to get rid of it really. It's yeah, mics.
I've got a couple of PZMs as well, you know, for room mics, which I've only ever used recording drums really. You know, because you make up the
ambience.
kit and then have a PZM on the wall to get a little bit of the room, and then you blend it in. I've done that in the past, but I haven't recorded drums for quite a while.
Yeah, 20 years for me. Since last recorded a set of drums.
I don't know if I ever recorded, and I certainly made a lot of noise on them though.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, about 8 years ago, when the studio, because the studio was obviously, we had a music shop, so the upstairs was 2 rooms with the studio, and he had a live room and a studio and a mixing room. And I remember a kid coming in and actually booking 2 days to record his drum kit, and that's what we did for 2 days, you know, to some backing tracks. I think he was doing. It was all Muse songs. He wanted to play along to some Muse songs.
Yeah.
Oh, Muse, MUSE.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I thought you said new songs. So
Oh,
I prefer the old
yeah,
songs.
Yeah.
But which mics do you use for vocals if you ever need to record some vocals?
This one, for me.
Yeah.
I have one of those. I use the other one mainly because I can't be asked to take this off its stand or anything. I've got one of those sort of wraparound,
Reflection filter.
reflection filter.
Yeah, I've
things.
got one of those as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and they work pretty well. You do need you need something behind them, really. So, but I've recorded singers like that with one of these.
So you don't? Do you sing yourself, Ian, or
I do, but I'm
You
not
do?
the world's best singer. I can hold a
It's-
tune. Let's say
it's of a
that.
style? Yeah.
Yeah, and I have sung back in the 90s. I was lead singer in a band for a while, but you know, it's rock music.
So how did you
It's
how have you stopped bleeding
experience,
then? You know, when you've got let's say a singer's monitoring the backing track on some headphones.
I use close
Close
back
back.
headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my main studio headphones are these, which are open, and you
Yeah.
can't. There's no point recording vocals with
you
them.
can't use those now.
I've got a pair of. I won them in a competition. A pair of quite expensive Shure close-back headphones, which are the most uncomfortable headphone on the planet. Wear them for more than half an hour, and you know you've got them on. But I give them to singers.
Well, then,
They don't need. They used to, yeah.
Yeah,
They used to, suffering for their art, aren't they?
It makes them.
That's the way it should be.
It makes them do the session quicker.
they only sing for a bit.
I want to do another take. Yeah, exactly.
no,
I see. What?
Headphones are hurting. I'm not doing another take.
Right. It's a good take. Excellent. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
But yeah,
The tricks of the trade.
You do need a close-back headphone with you'll still if you're really listening, you'll still hear. A
Oh
little
yeah,
bit
because
of it,
I was recording one lady once, and you could hear there was a click track as well, I think, on this backing track, and you could hear it over the mic. And in context, you probably couldn't hear it because there was other stuff masking it anyway. But I thought, well, sod this, just in case. I made I said, bring some earbuds. So put some earbuds in, proper some nice earbuds, and then just put a set of closed back headphones, over the top of the head, over the top of the earbuds. So they were just like ear defenders, and that worked. But yeah, sounds a bit of a faff. But yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waggle was saying he uses Behringer DT 770s. They're excellent. You find them in most studios, actually. Most professional studios, not home studios, will have 770s.
I had the 250s for a bit. So they were rated by the BBC. The BBC were wearing them a lot, weren't they, for their sort of broadcast and stuff. Not so much now, but
Yeah. I don't know. I've ever used them.
Yeah.
DT 250s. Oh no, the DT 100s were the BBC ones, weren't they? But yeah, I've never tried the DT 770s.
They're not cheap, if I remember rightly.
No.
I didn't like the sound of the 770, so I bought the 990. It was better. It's still not the best, but those two headphones are very nice to wear. Feels really good.
Yeah, I mean the Sennheiser HD 650s, which again these are very old now, but I've had these. Well, it must be 15 years. They're not a cheap headphone, but they are so comfortable. You know, I've never. I could literally wear them all day, if it came to it. You know. Yeah, and the 9. I've seen the 9. In fact, I had a hi-fi shop back in the 80s and 90s. We used to sell Behringer 990s as not just for studios, but for home use.
Yeah.
They're
And I
really
think
good.
when I bought them, they were cheaper than 770s. At least at that moment.
Yeah.
It's also 15 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Andy, we haven't heard about your week. What have you done?
I'm trying to get an album out, but this latest track that I've been working on, one that I worked on today, it features this. I think I've shown it before on this particular.
Oh yes.
The West Pest.
West Pest, yeah.
So yeah, that's what a 3.5 hour stream this morning, just messing around with that. But then building up to that, I mean, I spend a couple of days, probably 3 or 4 days in the week, just thinking, what am I going to do for my live stream? I don't plan anything, I don't script anything. It's all made up on the day. But I still had to get the project that I use. Reaper's my DAW, and it's only what. It's just, it's not multi-timbral, obviously. It's just a little semi-modular. So I've got about this one particular project I'm on at the moment. There's about, I don't know, I've got about a dozen, if not more, layered tracks. So I've got to record something, and then record another layer, and so on. Just going to keep recording the layers, and then just get inspiration from the other bits that I've recorded. So yeah, so that's this week's just been busy doing that. Really, pretty boring. Boring as the music. I do drone stuff, so excellent for falling asleep too. If nothing else, yeah.
I'm a little curious. What is the blue thing you have standing behind you? OB12.
Oh, the OB12.
Yeah.
That's the Viscount Oberheim virtual analog synth from the that one over there. You mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
God,
probably
my
not
phone's
blue.
ringing.
I think it's.
Just hold on a minute. I think my wife wants to be on the show. Hold on a sec. Hello. Pardon? All right. Okay. Will do. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I've got a very important task to do. What I can do while I'm talking, to be honest. So yeah, that is the Wagyu. I was going to say we've spoken before. Wagyu also has the OB12. It's all right, you know. I mean, and I heard Ian talking about, you know, collecting synths and stuff like that, and it does what I want it to do. It's a nice little synth, and also, I mean, because that is about. I've got the JP8000. The OB12, and then if I can I take this down there? So I don't know whether you can see it. Oh, you said there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey,
see that thing there?
a rack. Yes.
Yeah, it's a sort of so.
There's him.
Yeah, it's a Novation Nova. So another virtual analog synth from around about the same time as the JP8000 and the OB12, and then there are my audio devices down there. So yeah. I'd love more synths, but I suppose I've spent too much money on that.
You see. It's a drug. It's a drug.
Cost of a small car, one of those things. And I've not filled it up yet. There's still a few HP up the top there.
Yeah, and when you feel that, then you still keep buying things. It won't stop.
Well, not. It depends. It depends on the individual, doesn't it? I mean, I've been quite good actually. I did buy some modules early this year, and they were the first ones that I'd bought for a couple of years. So I mean, you can apply a little bit of restraint. Let's put it that way.
Good on you.
Okay. What do you think about the way the Oberheim, the voices, they are panned, and how does it work on hardware? I've never played an Oberheim, so I can't say it myself. I'm just thinking about it. When you play some notes and suddenly one is on the left and the other on the right, and it pans sometimes very randomly. And how does it work on hardware synth?
I've no idea. Well, for one thing, now I only use the mono outs on all of my synths because I'm a little bit. Let's put it this way: I don't have that many inputs on my audio devices. I use 2 octacapture, so I've got a total of 18 inputs, but I want 6 inputs for the modular. Right. In fact, there's 8 altogether. I've got the elements module, which is my fingers just touching now. That's elements. That's a stereo module. It's the only stereo module I've got. And in fact, it's the only stereo sound creation tool that I've got that has 2 dedicated, like a stereo input. So 6 for the modular, 2 plus 2 for the elements. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 with the Nova. I'm running out of fingers now, but guitar 14. I've got another. Oh, I've lost count, haven't I? Oh, sorry, I've got a DM5 drum machine audio thingy, but I've also got a Lexicon MPX 500 in the rack, which is a nice little multi-effects unit. So that's me 18 basically. So that's why I don't use stereo outputs on any of my synths. So I don't have to worry about that. So any stereo that I need, if I want to add any sort of like stereo width to any of my mono sounds, I just use a reverb, like an in the box reverb. I do all my effects at the moment in the box, apart from if I do use the MPX 500 every now and then. But I feel guilty, and I thought, well, you know, I've bought the damn thing, I better use it. So yeah, I don't know. So your problem of, I don't know. It must be a MIDI thing.
Yeah, but I didn't even think of putting it in mono. of course, it solves everything, and then you can
Yeah,
put reverb on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Releasing music. Now we have Ian, who does release a lot, and Andy, who's about to release something or want to. And I don't know about Chris, but when releasing, are you releasing to earn money or to get it heard by people, or to preserve it for the future? And let's start with that.
all of
are
those
you-
things for me.
Yeah, I was going to say all the above. Yeah.
I mean, I've spoken before, and obviously on the show, about what Sinner's music is doing, really, and it's trying to help other people as much as anything. I think it's really difficult to get a foothold in any sort of promotion for anybody's music. If I give an example, when I released Mo's album, which was a few months ago now. I mean, I've got into the habit of always releasing on Bandcamp first, and usually the Bandcamp version of an album will have maybe 2 or 3 extra tracks that won't go on streaming. So, because people are buying into it early, they're getting a little bit more than they would just by paying Apple or Spotify, £9 a month or whatever it is. So when I sent out 50 emails, personalised emails, which took me about a day and a half, if I'm honest, to blogs and even the BBC, and in most cases you don't get a reply, you don't get anything back. The one review we got for it, the blog, I actually knew the guy. I didn't know he was going to review it, because to be fair, I didn't necessarily think it was his sort of thing, because he normally only really reviews really experimental stuff. But we got a really nice review for Dave Walker, for that. So if you are sort of banging your head against a brick wall to some extent, with trying to promote your music, but that doesn't mean to say that we shouldn't still continue. I mean, and I am preserving it for posterity, in a sense, really, because,
for as long as the streaming services live, anyway.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? As long as the streaming services live. I mean, we're now tied in with I think they're a Danish company, which I buy into as a shareholder, which sounds really grand but isn't. But that means that we are starting to see slightly better royalty rates, although we are still talking absolute peanuts from a streaming royalty. But it's definitely better than the streaming royalties I was getting through, what was it, Emu Band. I used to use Emu Band, who were based up in Scotland. I wanted to use
Is it Diddy?
It is, yeah. Yeah. So and they're good people to do business with, So
I use Diddy too.
yeah. So you were also a shareholder, because that's the only way they work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but one problem about preserving music, if we die, it will be pulled down. The problem is
really?
some service
not necessarily.
No.
on Digity it will be when your account is running out, and I don't know what happens if they can't. No, they won't transfer money if you don't ask for it, so they won't find out that your account is gone, your bank account.
Well, my intention would, if I'm getting to that point where I'm getting so old that I'm getting senile, or I'm about to, pop my clogs, I would have somebody in place to take over.
Yeah,
because it's not.
Yeah, but you run it as a company where you have other artists releasing via you.
Yeah.
But if you were alone about it, when you may not consider those things, that things disappear if you don't secure it somehow.
Yeah, I mean, it is a problem in the future, isn't it? Because I mean, I know that some of the other companies, if you don't pay your fixed fee every year, they'll take your music down,
Yeah.
which shouldn't happen with DigiD, really.
No, as long as you have money on your account, but if
yeah.
you, or your share, when you run out of those and you can't pay your bills because you pay for a pro account, you pay £50 each month. That's about half a pound, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I keep getting an invoice from them for each month, which is fine, you know. But yeah, so it's you know, but how long your streaming service is going to be around, we don't know. You know, what happens if they get bought out by others? You know, one streaming service gets bought out by another streaming service, and all this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, apparently Spotify's not made any money yet, so you know,
and
that's what they say. I mean,
and what if Spotify gets hit by a ransomware attack and they still distribute what is uploaded to them to the other companies? What happens? We don't know.
Always maintain a website with your music on it, then you're good.
That's a really good advice, Andy. My light's just flickering.
Yeah, but that website, I have, for example, my domain JX3D.com is registered for 5 years. So I renew it each 5 year. But so when I die, for now it will be there for 5 years. But after that, it will disappear, and all my music will disappear, which is on there. So nothing is forever.
No.
And also, if you don't run the robots.txt, the Wayback Machine will keep your stuff.
Yeah. But what if there's a solar storm or a nuclear war?
EMP goes off or something.
Then have CDRs. Burn all your stuff.
Yeah. I'll put them on optical film.
How about cassettes? Let's all go back to cassettes.
Yeah.
No.
Get some wax cylinders.
Never.
I actually saw you can still buy floppy disks, 5.25 floppy disks.
Wow. Yeah. I've got some floppy disks kicking around somewhere. You know, and there was somebody doing some music on a floppy disk, because you know you get all these sort of weird and wonderful. There is actually, you can actually buy certain artists' music on wax cylinder. There's at least a couple of artists, because I saw there's the Wire magazine, and they were promoting this artist, and their music was on a genuine brand new wax cylinder. If you've got something that will play it, and those of you that don't know about wax cylinders, there wasn't just one format. There was about 4 different formats. So you might have a wax cylinder machine to play it on. You might not even play your brand new wax cylinder. Anyway,
I have an original wax cylinder, 100 years old.
Wow.
And welcome, Andy.
Hi, Andy.
How you doing?
Hi, Andy.
Hi, Andy.
On the way to Yosemite for the day, so.
Oh, out filming carpets?
We'll see how well the signal holds up.
Yeah.
Business or pleasure?
Yeah. Seems it's breaking up now. Yeah. So, okay. But how much do you earn on streaming? Of course, it's difficult for you to answer, Ian, because you have multiple artists, so you can't talk about yourself. You're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, take a drink, everybody. and because we've only just been, it's only this year really that we've started looking for other artists to work with. Although I did probably 3 or 4 years ago, I did work with a couple of artists. The money that's generated by streaming is, I mean, we haven't hit, there's a minimum £60 threshold before you get a payout. Certainly on Emu Band there is, and we've never hit that yet. You know, so when I was using Emu Band, there was, and there still is, 5 or 6 albums up there. So, you know, it takes a while to earn any money. You know, I mean, here's another example. I played in a band I had a band, a pop group, and we signed to a small independent record label for a single. And that single has not earned us any money from that record label. You know, and that was, the band split up in 2012, so probably about 3 or 4 years before that. So from about 2006 onwards, and it's not earned any money. You know, so it's always been the case that, you know, artists don't get paid enough if you get paid at all.
Yeah. I just want to say it's hit and miss, but it's more miss than hit, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
The definite.
You know.
I mean, for me, it's Bandcamp all the way at the moment. I know they recently got bought out by Epic, and everyone was saying, "Oh, it's going to be rubbish."
That's a worry.
Now.
That is a worry.
But it's still there, and I've earned more money on Bandcamp than I ever would have if I'd have bothered to stream on the likes of Spotify. So I just don't intend to. I don't even upload to DistroKid or anything. I just don't. All my music is self-published to SoundCloud, YouTube, and Bandcamp. Experimental and everything else. You know, all my rubbish stuff goes on SoundCloud.
Right.
My more serious stuff goes onto Bandcamp that I want to try and sell. I'll still put stuff that I've got on Bandcamp onto SoundCloud just to drive people to Bandcamp from SoundCloud. It doesn't make sense not to put a link on SoundCloud at least.
That's right. Yeah.
And then YouTube really is just a bit of a funny one, YouTube, because it's only in the last, say, 8 months or so that I've been pushing more YouTube really. YouTube was only ever an outlet for my strange flame fractal graphic animations that I used to do, that would have some of my music in the background. But now I'm trying to push YouTube a little bit more by talking about it a bit more and poking around in chats and joining people like you and stuff like that. And it's I'm now hitting. I'm nearly up to 400 subs.
So
nice
the channel isn't monetized yet, then, Andy?
Oh no! And I don't think I'll ever get to that stage. I'll probably
have to get
about
over 1,000. I think.
Well, they keep moving the goalposts. It was 1,000 at one point, but it's also tied in with how many watch hours you've got.
Yeah, I think now it's 500 subs, but you've still got to hit the watch hours or something like that. So
it's usually 1,000 for YouTube and 500 for Twitch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I think they changed the rules again, Andy, recently.
Really?
But then
I'm going to have 500 in about a couple days. Then, so that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
No, I think it come down to 500, but with other provisos in there as well. And to be honest, I don't even know what it was because I don't take any notice of that stuff because it's just I've taken. I think I joined YouTube in about 2015, something like that, and it's took me till now to get 380 odd subs. So I'm not.
It's hard work getting subscribers.
It is.
You know?
It is. Yeah. And
I'm still just below 10,000. I've been below 10,000 for a long time, and I can't seem to get over that threshold. Are you? Can I just ask you, Andy? Are you a member of a performing rights society?
No, because I don't perform, and I don't class myself as a musician.
But that's not what it's about, because
Yeah,
if you are
it's
a
not
member
just
of
live. Yeah,
it's a performing rights society, you should earn royalties if any of your music is picked up by TV or radio. I mean, and it can happen all over the world. I mean, I don't earn a lot from performing rights. Now, I've been a member of Performing Rights Society for at least 10 years, and I am critical of the UK one as much as any. But very occasionally, I do get a statement coming through for like £3, or the most has been about 150. I mean, actually, when the BBC Radio 1 played the track from the pop group from I was in 2006 onwards, and I got paid as the songwriter £136. So
that's okay. Better than kicking
when
the
that
arse,
happens, so Performing Rights Society it was when I joined, it was free. It's not free now. I think it's over £100 to join. But it's
is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, and what I've said to bands that I've worked with, that at least one member of the band wants to be, if they're all writing songs, and how they split that money is between a band really, but one of you wants to be a member of a PRO, because you'll then start to get some royalties if your music is getting played anywhere out there, And the other thing is that you need IRSC codes, which will tell the radio station or the TV to pay you, basically. Now, I have seen somewhere where people saying that you pay for RSC codes. You should never pay for an IRSC code. People that I work with, if they haven't got them already, and we're going to be putting their music out, one of the first things I do is as a record label, we can set up the IRSC codes for them, so that, and we give them straight away, for the whole album, and then wherever they should put that everywhere. So they should put it on Bandcamp, on Spotify, wherever, even SoundCloud, and if it gets picked up, they should get paid something. I mean, here's an example. One of my tracks got played on a Finnish TV show, and it was played something like 60 times, and they used hang on though, they used about a 5-second clip of this track, and I think I got paid £1.50.
Okay.
So it's swings and roundabouts really.
Yeah,
it was the statement was quite good, because when you see where your music is being used,
that's the thing you do get. It is interesting to see if you might find out people have discovered some of your music in places you would never even think they would.
Exactly. I mean, the last statement I got, which was only for about £3 or £4, was I think just before Christmas. So I don't get one. You're supposed to get one every quarter, but obviously the last quarter it wasn't being used anywhere, or they haven't got it.
Yeah.
And it can sometimes take up to a year for it to appear for you to get the money.
Yeah, I mean, I can't honestly see. I'll look into it again, Ian. But I typically do like 10-minute long things that.
So do I.
Just send people to sleep.
That's okay.
I can't see that being played on any kind of TV really. But I don't suppose if you don't try, you don't get. I suppose at the end of the day. But I mean, that's why I say to people as well about publishing stuff. I'm on Discords, I'm on forums, and people say, "Oh yeah, but my stuff's no good. It's not good enough. I don't want to post mine," because I said, "Well, so that if you like it,
exactly. I mean, I make music.
You put it up, and then let the people decide. I've been as an experiment. I've always when I set up my Bandcamp, I said to myself straight away, sod it, I'm going to make people pay for this stuff, and it might only be a couple of quid, £3 for an album, but I want to make people pay for it. And if they want to, every now and then I'll put a free download on SoundCloud, but Bandcamp is you pay for it, and it's surprising how often. Completely, people that you've never even heard of before suddenly buy your discography for like 15, 16 quid or something. It's like, cool. So I always say to people, don't hold back. The services are there. Bandcamp's free, SoundCloud's free. YouTube is free. You've got no excuse. Publish your bloody stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we should be paying for music. I mean, the business of music being free obviously happened probably 10 years ago, didn't it? It was when we had the illegal download sites first of all.
Napster.
Because
Napster.
Napster and LimeWire. I remember using LimeWire, but I used it for video, for watching movies.
That's only because RIA didn't know what to do with anything. They're too stupid.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
were just behind.
So the reality is that we should be paying for music. Now, you might not be paying very much, but you are supporting the artists. And certainly with things like Bandcamp,
Yeah.
Less so with the streaming services, because by the time it gets back to the artist, it literally is less than peanuts,
And do you guys over there have the equivalent of our cable public access, where you can get local videos played on TV that's not professional?
I don't know. I mean, there used to be a channel in Leeds that did that, but I haven't seen it on TV for a while. So if there is, it's probably patchy over here in the UK.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen it.
In Australia, we just have community television stations. They tend to be in each state. I haven't had much dealings with them. I don't really know what they play.
They were bigger here a long time ago, but they're still around. They're just not as popular. So.
Yeah, we definitely have that kind of stuff in Australia. It's just whether it's on the same level as what you're talking about.
That's where I got to learn how to use Sony U-matic editing and all that shit.
Oh yes, the old
fun.
U-matic tapes, enormous things.
I mean, we in the UK we do have the BBC pretending to support small artists with introducing stuff, but in my experience, getting stuff on there is torture, really.
Yeah, it's very much.
I have been played, but honestly, it's beyond belief how ridiculous it was to try and get you stuff.
Very much designed like they're doing you a favour.
Yeah, and they're not really,
No.
And it's a lot of the stuff, Ian, as well, as I found, because I've listened to the odd, Radio 6 broadcast or whatever, and you're looking at the playlist, and it's actually people that to us are still quite up there. Do you know what I mean? It's like
they're usually sort of signed
what's
an
new about
label.
this, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's not. I mean. There's not an awful lot because a lot of my own stuff is like experimental electronica, and there's not a lot out there for that sort of stuff. But the BBC, they do have a couple of shows on Radio 3, which I have tried to get not only my stuff but other people's stuff on before, and without any success. I mean, there's the Freak Show, which Stuart McConey does here in the UK, which is. And I do know that he's completely inundated with sort of, shall we say, left field music, which is becoming the norm to some extent.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find there's a radio station, Skylab Radio. Have you heard of Skylab Radio, Ian?
No, I'm not going to write them down.
It's a funny one because I do go to Twitter every now and then, and this lady called Katie from Skylab Radio contacted me and said, could I play some of your music on our radio station? And at first I thought, is it like an internet station?
Yeah.
But it turned out that it was they transmit in the UK over DAB, digital audio broadcasting. Okay. But I think she said that this show has been heard across the world, in like in South America even, and thinking, wow, it did have an enormous coverage. It didn't do me much good, but more good than what it would have happened if it hadn't been played. If you know what I mean.
You got played. That's the important thing.
He got paid, and I got a few purchases on Bandcamp on the back of it. I think.
Oh, cool.
You notice your plays going up, and you're thinking, all right, so people are seeing the name or whatever, and
Yeah.
they look into it.
And
That's
and
good to hear.
That's back to the thing about the an IRSC code and the being part of a performance rights society, because you should have had they will fill a form in saying what tracks they played if it's got that sort of distribution, and you would have got some payment as the songwriter, because performing rights is all about songwriting.
But I was talking about it I think it was just yesterday. We were talking about this on a Discord about the PRO as it happens, and I said, well, the problem with a lot of the sort of like the smaller radio stations, they need people like myself who are not going to charge them in any way, shape, or form for playing the stuff, because a lot of these smaller radio stations just don't have the money to pay to play the stuff. They're only just basically running the being able to, because it takes quite a bit to set up a radio streaming service.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Soma FM?
I have, yeah.
Anyone heard of Soma FM, Andy?
Yeah.
Andy,
I have heard of them.
I think so.
It's Rusty Hodge, I think his name is, the guy. I mean, they've played some of my stuff, but it's hard work. They're always like looking for money all the time, as well as so like I said, what I'm trying to say is, for the smaller stations, it's hard work for them to be trying to to be, if they had to start paying stuff to the Performing Rights Association or whatever, PRS, it would be hard. It would put them out of business, I think.
But they should. I'm sorry. I mean,
I get that. You're probably right. Yeah,
I started.
They definitely all do over here in Australia.
Yeah, I mean, there was a small once they get an FM license in the UK. We can always only talk about the UK. It'll be different in America, and it'll be different in Australia and everywhere else. But I got involved with a little local radio station and did a show for them. This was probably, it must be about 10 years ago now. And they had a license with PRS and the other collection agency in the UK. And, they pay a fee, but that should be part of the business plan. And for them to get an FM license in the UK, they needed to be paying those. The other thing that happens here in the UK is that shops, offices and factories have to pay PRS for playing music. Yeah. Right?
Same here.
Yeah. As a member of PRS, I have never had any of that money that gets generated, and it's lots.
Yeah, that's
so the small artists like us never see any of that revenue from factories, offices, shops, businesses. I do remember we had because when we had the music shop, we we got a phone call from PRS one day saying your business should be paying for your PRS license, and we said no, because the only music we play in the shop we'd already bought into I think it was a French company's license, which didn't need. It was cheaper than PRS. So we had my wife Jane had a big argument with this guy on the phone, saying, look, he was quite bullying to some extent, saying you need to be paying for your PRS license, and we're saying no, we don't, because we don't play Radio 1 to 4, we don't play any of the sort of music which would be covered by PRS. We only play, it was mainly sort of quiet ambient music that we licensed from a French company. So PRS they're
we have a new guest.
We do.
Welcome, Ranzee.
What time you call this?
That guy over there looks familiar.
No echoes today?
We're
all working?
No.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Yeah, you're
Awesome.
clean.
Fantastic. Yeah, I just got home. There was two things going on tonight. My daughter had a like a school social, and also my wife and I went out to dinner. So because what do you do while you're waiting for your daughter? So we just sort of went out to a restaurant nearby. So yeah, it was good.
Nice.
But yeah, it just Saturday nights are sometimes hard for me to get the show out at the time that we usually get them out. So sometimes it's nice having people like Henrik around who saves the day. So thanks, mate. Good on you.
Henrik.
Well done for that.
Nice one, mate.
Well done.
Hey, Ranzee, you have to ask a terrible question.
Yeah.
Did you eat a shrimp on the Barbie?
No. I didn't actually enjoy my dinner tonight. It wasn't that nice. It was like they call it snapper. Do you guys get snapper in your part of the world? The fish that I had?
No.
It's called snapper anyway. Normally snapper is kind of nice. It's a pretty sort of run-of-the-mill sort of fish, not too gamey, not too boring. But this one sometimes you just get a dodgy fish, but it wasn't too bad. Hey to everyone in the chat. A lot of people are saying hi to me, like Aziohead and Prometheus UK and Matt Brown. So big hello to you guys who are saying hi to me in chat. Nice of you guys to shout out. Also, thanks to all you guys who have joined. Sorry about the last minute email and everything. Now, what have I missed? Have you guys got any news? Have you guys, what have you just been chatting for the last hour? What's been going on?
We did have some news. We didn't know anything about the IntelliGel things. And we didn't know anything about the other news, but we just did them.
So you've talked about the IntelliGel products?
No.
We only mentioned it.
Okay.
Soma and the other one, but we didn't know what it was, except it's from IntelliGel. I couldn't find it on their homepage, so I searched for it.
Sea legs.
Modular
I've got
British
links.
to the place.
I've got links, so we're good. We can go through it if you like.
But first, we were talking about streaming, and Azure had a question we should answer first. And he asked, what about sales royalty income taxes? You used to be able to report income like that on your personal taxes over here, but they changed that a couple of years ago. Ian?
So I can answer that from my
go
point
for
of
you.
view.
Yeah, go.
Yeah. So from my country, you do if you report it as income, they'll determine whether the amount that you're earning is a hobby or if it's actually a fully fledged type income that you should be paying tax on. So for me, I don't earn very much at all from YouTube and any sort of. There's no royalties I get. Not really nothing other than. Like we've talked about this before, Spotify and Apple Tunes and that sort of stuff is very small. So anything that I've earned, I always tell my accountant about it, and my accountant will report it. And if the Australian, in my case, tax department, they'll say that's just a hobby, so it's basically tax free. And in our country too, we also have this. There's a part of our income that's called tax free. So it's called the tax free threshold, and so we have I forget what the amount is. It's something like $18,000 Australian. You can earn that much money before you need to start paying tax, income tax that is. And anything that you earn after that, there's all these sort of tax levels. So, for a lot of situations, hobbies will sort of fall under in that. It's like a technicality almost, like they will fall under that smaller amount, and then they will sort of dip under the radar, and you don't usually have to pay tax. But obviously, if you're making mega bucks from your Spotify song streams, and you're doing really well on YouTube, and you're earning $100,000 a year, you'll definitely be paying tax on that, and you should be declaring it absolutely. Because if you don't, you could end up like people that I've heard that haven't declared tax for certain things, and they've lost their houses. Because the governments will literally just take everything from you if you can't pay it. They'll take everything that you own, and they have the power. Most countries, they'll have the power to do that. So be careful is what I would say. Go back to everyone. So anyone else can answer.
From my point of view, yes, We do pay tax. The first tax we pay through Sinners Music, because Sinners Music is a limited company. We're VAT registered, value added tax. So any sale we make, we have to pay 20% to the government. So that's the first thing. And actually, like Ranz, I don't earn enough from Sinners Music to actually it be above my threshold nowadays. But in the past, we have paid corporate tax. In fact, one year we paid more corporate tax than Facebook, and that was not. I mean, that shouldn't have happened because we were a small business. So yeah, I mean, and I don't have an accountant. I've had an accountant in the past. I use software. I have a son who isn't an accountant, but he works in the city of London in finance. So I would always run any financial stuff by him, really, if I wasn't sure, because he does know about all this sort of stuff, you know. So you should always get professional advice as far as, you know, accountancy and tax is concerned.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
if in doubt, ask sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have. This is from Digity, where I have to pay back 240 crowns in tax. I got the big amount, including tax, paid out. So I owe the tax company that amount of money. But then I bought some synthesizers and things like that. And because I run it as a company, I can subtract some of that tax if I buy it in the right places inside EU and not in United States, for example. So this first half year, I only have to pay about 300 or 400 in tax because I always try to get it to balance as much as possible, and that's why it's important to have professional help like an accountant who knows what you can save on. Get all the help you can. In some sense, you get money out of it. So it may cost, but it does help.
Yeah, probably the most important thing I reckon to take it out of this is to get some advice from an accountant, and also to definitely report it. So never ever think to yourself, I just won't tell them.
No.
I think the best policy you can always have is to report it, and if it costs you a few bucks in tax, then so be it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And more often than not, it doesn't. Yeah, so similar to Henrik, I generally each year go, well, actually, I've paid this much out for, I bought a module and some software. I just provide my accountant with my purchases for the year to offset against anything that I've earned off Bandcamp, and it pretty much bounces out every time. So, but yeah, it's reporting it. You've got to fill it in on your tax return form. It's not worth taking the risk. You can do if it's small. If it's just small amounts, you can probably get away with it. But I mean, eventually they'll come after you, sort of thing.
They will. I mean, luckily, as a limited company, we can claim for things that the rest of you guys might not be able to. Like, you know, our trip to Edinburgh was part of the business because we were obviously putting videos out. Now we earned some revenue from that, but not very much. But so it's an expense on the business. So I've been able to claim the VAT back on the hotel bills. Well, hotels. We stayed in student accommodation, and then we stayed in a really rather grotty guest house. But that cost a lot of money because it's Edinburgh Fringe, and they always put the prices up. But we were able to claim back over £200 in VAT for those transactions because they were legitimate transactions. You know, likewise when we buy a synthesizer, you know, it may be to sell on or it may be to use, but you know, I can claim that because it's a legitimate claim. I can claim some of my
feedback loop.
Yeah, we need some music to that.
I just
Video feedback.
Yeah, I had to try it.
Where's
So,
Darren when you need him?
You can claim some things for travel in terms of car costs, but not everything in the UK. So you have to be a bit dodgy. You have to be not dodgy. You have to be careful about that
Careful,
sort of stuff,
yeah.
really. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, just be honest. And actually, the odd times that I've had conversations with the tax office, they've always been really helpful because they treat you. They're not out to to get you in that sense. You know, they actually, certainly the UK tax people, you know, they are there to help you get. If you think you've got it wrong, you know, like when I first set up, not this business, my first business. Not actually, I'm lying to you. It was this business. It was Sinners Music. We set up Sinners Music, and I made a mistake on the first VAT return. I had a phone conversation with somebody in the VAT office, and then I sent all my spreadsheets and everything through to them. And she said, "Oh, I can see what you've done. I can see where you made the mistake. You know, I'm going to have to send you a formal letter, but just ignore that. It's just because I have to send that. You know, it's not. It's just." Think of it as like a warning, but really, I understand where your mistake was. There's no penalty because the tax office here in the UK can issue penalties, and they can be quite large in some cases.
Yeah, I think the penalties are the killer, really, aren't they?
Yeah. You know,
can be.
Like if I'm late submitting my quarterly tax return, I will get a penalty. That is guaranteed.
Yeah, we're the same in Australia.
Yeah, at the end of each year, our year ends in October. So I will have till February, March time to do my accounts for the last year, and I think I have to submit it by June. Now I always try and submit it really early as possible, but I get all that stuff together, and it takes me probably a good 2 or 3 days to actually get the accounts all together. But because I know what I'm doing, and I have got somebody I can talk to about it. That saves me £600 plus VAT. Then I pay an accountant to do that. So you know, if I didn't have my son, I would be going to an accountant and paying that. You know, so it's the professional help again. Is
Good question. Definitely good question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the stuff
Hey,
that
if you guys
I do
only had
for
smell-o-vision, I'm driving through Gilroy. It smells like garlic everywhere.
Gilroy garlic, get it India. So the stuff that I do, I don't put. We've got a family business as well, but I don't put the music stuff that I do through it because it's a separate thing.
Yeah,
and it's not a serious thing. So, all right. Do you guys want to do some segments? You guys happy to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. All right, so keep the thing on full screen for me, because if I hit this button, you guys should see it, and it should work, hopefully.
Yay!
But no audio.
No audio.
Oh.
Why is that? That is weird.
Just sing. Okay. Just sing on the next.
Fair enough. I just thought when I saw this meme, I thought, duh. We're already doing it, people.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we're geniuses.
We're already geniuses. Yeah. I think that might have been a bit of a sarcastic stab.
Yeah.
Calling us geniuses if we're buying synthesizers. I don't know. Yeah. Whoever's doing that, it's probably a guitarist joke, actually.
Well, you shouldn't call the Apple Genius Bar geniuses either, but it's another story.
The Apple Genius Bar, yeah. They don't have any synthesizers there, that's for sure. Next, the bear breaks into the house and plays the piano, but not very well.
Amazing.
That's a great photo.
That's a superb photo.
Yeah, it's amazing.
They shouldn't have spread peanut butter on the keyboard.
Did you guys see that bear that was it in China?
And the one that they think's in a suit.
Everyone thought it was a human in a suit. Maybe this is the same dude. He's breaking into people's houses. Anyway, next. If Pete Davidson can snag Ariana Grande, Kim Kardashian, and Kate Beckinsale, I'm pretty sure you can learn how to use the Octatrack.
Exactly. Yes. First world problems, people.
Every photo of Pete
Yeah, that
Davidson
guy's
looks like that,
legendary.
doesn't it?
I know.
He always looks like that. Like, yeah. Like, you know, what are you doing? Why am I here? Is this real?
Who is that?
Is
I
that?
don't know who he is.
I don't even know who Pete Davidson is.
No, I don't
Oh,
know.
you don't. Put it this way: do not even attempt to Google it and try. Once you discover this bloke, you'll just think
It's from
oh,
Saturday Night Live.
yeah. Then you've got this one where he's going, aha! Or something like, take on.
That's very good. Extra points for being artistic too.
Pretty good.
Someone can.
And then there's a 3.5mm patch cable that's arrived from Amazon.
That's superb.
Don't they overbox things?
That's actually sad but true.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
it's-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had ones like that.
Sad but true.
Not
All
from
right, that
Amazon.
is it for the memes. I'll go back to my ugly mug, and you guys can, Henrik, you can do the group shot for me, please. Favorite meme, please, people in the chat, and also people here. Favorite
I
meme
think I
of
like
the
the
week.
aha one actually.
Yeah,
Amazon.
the AHA one.
The Amazon box.
Amazon box. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my
Aha one?
vote, isn't it?
What chatties are saying. Some are saying the bear. Some are saying the package. Some are saying the Amazon. I think the Amazon one might just have it. I win again! Another one of Ranzee's memes wins for the week.
Hey!
Yay! The struggle is real, friends. The struggle is real.
I nearly submitted one this week, but I shall keep that power to dry for another time. I have to remember what it was too.
I could probably get the pop-out chat to work, actually. Ooh, this is going to be interesting. Because I always do like to show a little screeny of the chatties. If I go into here, just give me a sec. I'm going to paste the link in. It's waiting for this window to open. My computer struggles when I stream, probably because it's doing a lot of stuff. Alright, now if I go full screen on this, Henrik, then you can go full screen on me. And then we've got the chat window up.
Chatties.
Beautiful. There's the streamers or chatties, I should say, favorite meme of the week. There you go. Beautiful. All right. Back to all of us. So what do you want me to do in regards to news? I'll roll the stinger, and I guess we'll just talk about it on the other side, shall I?
Sea legs. Definitely sea legs.
Sea legs. Okay.
Remember to sing.
Let's roll the stinger.
La 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 la.
So you're not hearing any of that.
No.
No.
Okay. I don't know why. It's weird. But you have seen this, right? And you don't want to talk about this because you've already talked about it, right?
Well,
We talked about. Yeah, that we didn't know much about.
Okay,
Someone. Yeah.
So Behringer have announced that they're going to make this, and they're collaborating with the guy that from Russia that originally designed these. So he's actually working with them to make this. So
Which is a nice change.
that's so when you guys see this, it is a clone of some Russian stuff that they've made in the past, but they've actually got the guy working with them that used to make it. So
Yeah, fair
the
play.
guy's name has slipped my memory. I'll just grab it for you. Someone will remember it before I do, I'm sure. What's his name? Vladimir Kuzmin is the guy's name. There was a photo of him on the Behringer Facebook page too. Yeah. So
Which looks surprisingly.
now,
un-Russian.
just while we've got that, there's kind of two things that got to me when I saw this. Right, number one was I thought, hey, it's good that Behringer are bringing out some of these Russian synths, because Russian synths are not as commonly used in Western society as much as we've heard of them, right? But we don't see them that commonly, and that's a cool thing in its own, because some of them have got some really interesting wiring and the way that they design their oscillators and filters and things like that. That's all really, really cool. So we can nerd out on that. But at the same time, what's happening with Russia and the world's embargo on that country because of what's happening with the Ukraine war. It's really kind of sad, but there's a lot of good people in Russia that are doing really good things, and they can't get products out. So in a way, Behringer are actually doing a cool thing here. They're actually making a Russian product, but because they're not a Russian company, they can get that out to the world. Now, some people will probably throw their synths at the screen at what I've just said, but you guys have got to remember, not every single Russian is responsible for what's happening in Ukraine.
Yeah.
You know, there are people that would love it if that whole thing stopped and they had a new president elected and all sorts of stuff. So you got to understand, there's more political crap going on than we probably are fed in the Western world. And just if we bring it back to the synthesizer that's here, I think it's a good thing. Who else kind of feels like they would be interested in getting their hands on one of these and, popping out some tunes in the studio?
I'll definitely play it and decide whether it's something I want. But
so
give
is
it a
it
go.
an actual?
Not boycotting it.
Yeah. Is this just a mock-up, or are they actually making this properly?
This is a prototype that they shared on their Facebook page. So when they're doing prototypes, it usually means that they are workable to some degree. I'm not sure how much they're workable, but they are working with the guy, Vladimir. But, I mean, just looking at this, we can see 2 multi-wave oscillators with a detune with pulse width controls that go into a mixer, and you have sub-oscillator, tweakable FM, noise generator, and I think I saw an external input on that as well, which maybe means that you could put something through the filter. Up across the top, you can see those in and outs in the 3.5 millimeter sort of stuff. But you've got, you're starting to see a commonality with their desktop sort of module. You're seeing USB, MIDI DIN, bit of eurorack connectivity. I would say let's hear what it sounds like, just like you guys, right? That's probably the next stage. But I just think this is a good step. So sometimes they don't do everything right, but I think this is a good step in the right direction. That's why I want to show.
But is it monophonic or polyphonic?
I'd say this is monophonic, just as a guess. Yeah, it doesn't show anything to me like it's going to be a polysynth. It looks like a monosynth, analog. It's a Moog style, that sort of thing.
It's using the same switchgear as the Moogs because it's a prototype, so they'll use the same parts, but it may end up with different switchgear and stuff when that goes into production, if it ever goes into production.
Well, I'd say it would, because I don't think there's anything stopping them. But look at those switches across the bottom and in the matrix area. There's some really interesting kind of, designs here. It's obviously following the Russian original designs, but what some of that stuff does, I'd love to get a clearer picture for a start. It's not a very clear picture
that'd be nice.
Wouldn't it?
I don't think anything goes up to 11.
But,
Is there a picture of a Polyvox anywhere on the internet?
We
could probably find one.
Against?
Yeah. I mean, I think their sort of range of parameters is between 0 and 6. That's I think one of the themes of the Russian synths.
Oh, right.
So you can see there's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, maybe we can get this one.
As opposed to sort of decimal like the rest of us.
They're not very clear, these photos, either. How do I zoom in on this thing? I can't, I guess. I have to find a better photo. I'm trying to find photos on the internet, and they're not very high res, so let's not worry about it for now.
Yeah.
And the ones that are high res are not clear. Yeah, let's not worry about it. But yeah, go Google it, and if you just Google Polyvox synth and go and click on Google Images, you'll get hundreds of them, and you can go zoom in and have a look at the buttons and switches and stuff. We haven't got time. All right, shall I go to the next thing, which is this, which you guys said that you want to know more about, which is the IntelliGel C-Legs. There is a little bit of a video here, so can you guys tell me if this works first?
Yeah.
Works.
Yep, hear the audio.
And we get sound.
And audio.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good. So let's watch the intro for a bit. Oops, sorry. All right, before he goes off and starts talking about it, because I think I'll just go to this graphic, not that one there. Okay, so you guys wanted to know what this is. This is obviously an effects module, but it has 3 distinct delay models in it. You've got a tape, a bucket brigade, and a crossfading digital delay, all in one. And they all run at 96K 24-bit stereo. So this is a stereo module. Right, you can control it with a whole bunch of parameters, as you can see there down the bottom. You've got some digital controls, and across the top you've got some CV with attenuverters. Notice that when you say, for those guys who don't know, when we say attenuverters, what it means, it's an attenuator that goes into the negative and into the positive. That's why you see the minus and the plus with the little pot below the input. So the reason why attenuverters are good is because you can get interesting results with voltage when they go into the negative, as well as when they go into the positive. So, because it's a resistor, right? At the end of the day, a potentiometer is a resistor. So that's the theory there. But from this, what you're looking at is you're looking at all these kind of feedback controls with, we all love to play with delay. Especially a monosynth, right? Think about a monosynth. How much does a delay effect really liven up a monosynth? But wouldn't it be cool if we had like uber control over these delay effects? Because sometimes we're just using the plugin and we just hit the ping pong button and away we go, and it's bouncing left to right across our ears. We want a bit more control. We want to control feedback and depth and waveform, and we might want to have a high pass filter on the bounce, all these sort of things we're dying to have more control over. And I call it like the tail. That's what I call it. So the tail of a delay, or the effects side of delay, isn't the raw or the dry signal, it's the wet signal, right? But then what do we do with the wet signal once it's an event happening in time? That's what these sort of modules do. So you've got lots of things, like you've got delay time, you've got shape controls, width controls, because it's a left and right stereo module, right? You've got things like saturating your input. You've got modulation waveforms, wow and flutter emulation, because it's got a tape system in it. You've got positive and negative envelope followers in here. This is a pretty action-packed module, and it's not massively cheap. It's a typical IntelliJaw, when they do their bigger sort of modules, this is a $439 jobber. But just with that and that alone, you heard a little bit of a demo. Any thoughts, guys? Go to the multi-view, please. Sir Henrik.
Rise, Sir Henrik. I'll go first. Yeah, it's I get it, but again, it's the kind of thing that I'd probably be more turning towards a plugin for. Just because I don't really want to pay the premium price for it. But I completely get how some people would, especially if they're going to use it as their primary sort of source of, meat that they get out of their modular. So it's probably not for me, but I do get the whole... One question, do you know, is it completely digital?
Yeah. Oh, good question. It's the delay side of it is... I don't... Yeah, I think the filter is analog.
So it's probably digital with analog components in the feedback circuits.
Yes. Yes. I think
I'm
it
on their
is, yeah.
website now, and I don't remember them actually specifying if anything is specifically analog and anything is I would say the whole thing is digital. That would be my guess. Yeah. I mean, obviously you're going to have DAEs in the back.
So,
Let's not split hairs, but the actual function of the module, I would say, is digital because a lot of the stuff. If you're looking at this from a development point of view, you can get these algorithms onto a chip. You can get a tape emulation.
Yeah, but
you can get a backup grade delay emulation.
And if
it's
it
the
was
packaging,
analog,
though, isn't it?
and if it was analog, why separate bucket brigade delay and the other types of delay? Why not make it possible to put them serial? So I think it's digital. I don't think there's a unit for each thing.
That's my thought. But hey, check. Definitely shoot a message to Intelliger. They'll tell you. But what I thought was interesting is they've got a hiss and crackle generator on this. Aren't we trying to remove that from our tracks, people?
People ask for it back. It's okay, we'll put a bloody button on the front. Here, you can have your noise back. Well, Roland did it on the JU06, so...
Darren's not here, but he would love the freeze functionality on this. I know he loves that.
Well,
so
I would say I've not seen the Intelliger video. I've watched the Mylar Melodies one.
Yeah.
You've got to watch Mylar Melodies.
Yeah, I've seen
Alex.
it too. Yeah.
He does a much better job of selling it.
Oh, of course.
I think.
Of course. But we can't show Mylar Melody videos on the stream.
Okay, yeah. Can you mention it?
Old copyright strike. You can mention him, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Alex. Look, I tell you what. If I asked Alex to jump on the show in a flat, so do not worry about that. But it's just that the algorithms are a beast out of our we humans' control.
Yeah,
it's not the humans we're worried about; it's the robots.
So definitely check it out. I mean,
he's a good guy. He's only 40 miles down the road from me.
Is he?
He's a top bloke. He really is.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's in Leeds.
Yeah.
What was that Source Distribution? I think was where he used to work. Is it Source Distribution? A few years back. This is going back to when he was, that famous video that he did, which was the IntelliGel Metropolis. Right. That was one of the groundbreaking videos he ever did. I think he worked for Source Distribution. I don't know if it still is, but yeah.
We still work with Gear for Music at the moment, isn't he?
Well, there you go. I didn't know that. Yeah, but it'd be a good get because he could sell ice to the Eskimos. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You put it on YouTube videos, you could sell it.
Yeah, it's good love. But I think I would be hard pushed not to get the seal eggs. I think it's a cracking little module. And I'm with Chris in as much as, and as I said near the start of when I first joined, I used both hardware and software sound sources, but effects-wise, I'm pretty much always in the box. But when I saw the video, when I saw Mylar Alex showing off that sea legs, I thought I've got to have that because of so much is CVable on it as well, and it's not just the delay; it's that reverb, the fog, the fog thing.
The fog's nice, isn't it?
It's amazing, yeah.
It is a bit reminiscent of the clouds module in that sense. So I think it does have a bit of cloud about it. Because with cloud, you've got all that sort of granular effects, right? And then on top of it, you've got that really nice reverb. And a lot of people just got the clouds, and they just had the reverb permanently on when they originally got it. But this, I can see a lot of people getting this, and I think that freeze button is going to go berserk. I really do.
Yeah, it'd almost be worth getting a like a little boutique module. Like a rack for it, a little box, just to have that in it.
Now you're talking, Andy.
For MS, yeah.
I'm interested now.
MS cases.
I don't do modular, but I'm interested.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. That other module that they launched at the same time, the Stomp, right? That's kind of timely that you mentioned that Andy, because the stomp, like, just go across to, I'll do it actually, go across to here. That stomp module there is pretty much a lot of people sort of are bringing external guitar pedal effects into their modular, right? And there's different sort of line levels that we've got. There's eurorack level, and there's line level, and there's, you know, high Z, and you know what I mean? There's all these kind of different signal inputs that could possibly create some issues with impedances and overdrives and all sorts of voltage issues, right? And that's what this stomp module does. So you can correctly bring an external effects unit into your eurorack without having to worry about that sort of stuff. And it's not just that. It's not just basically let's send something and let's bring it back. I mean, a send and return module is actually really, really handy, by the way, just on its own. But it's also got some extra features too, like the it's got a little LFO, an expression thing. So that actually does help as well, especially if you've got modules like, for example, the Strymon Big Sky has an expression input on it. So you can use this.
Quite a lot of them.
Moog, yeah.
Expressions in.
So what they're saying you can do with this is that you can use your eurorack to modulate the expression of your guitar pedal, and you can do it cleanly, if that makes sense. So you're using the right voltage conversions, and it's got the chipsets at the back, the DACs and all that sort of stuff at the back. To, you know, I think it's kind of a sensible module. You may find that some people will just go, I'll just plug it straight in, like I do. I've got a.
There are a whole lot of
plug that straight in.
There are a lot of other manufacturers doing stomp pedal interfaces. It's quite a common module added to the sort of standard line now. So, but this is the first time I've seen this particular take on it, where they said, "Well, let's make it do some more stuff." Mostly, they're like, try and make it do nothing different from what it's ever done before, and take up as little space as possible. That's been the take up to now that I've seen, but this is the first time when they've kind of IntelliGelled it and said, "No, let's think about it. Let's think about how we make this a module that is providing some value above its normal, obvious function."
Sometimes we also have to, think, not everyone feels this or thinks the same way as we do. Like, so some people may want to put their effects in a parallel way. They may want to do it in a serial way, where they've got an effect chain happening. So that effect has to go first, then that goes through this effect that way. I like the idea personally of sends and returns, because then you can do it in a parallel way, right? So you can sort of mix in an effect on a channel on a mixer, for example, right? So these little eurorack mixers that I've got here, they've got 2 send and return circuits on them, and it's really, really nice being able to control the levels of the sends and the returns and mix them into your channels as you need them. So this sort of module here would actually probably end up in my studio, because that will actually expand a mixer that I've got from having 2 send and returns now to 3. And if you want to, you could then use that to do a serial chain, right, of effects, and then bring that back in to your mixer. So
yeah, and quite often you want a different chain to put things through to what you want to put things in parallel. So I know, Ranzee, you do quite a bit of delay and reverb on your sends, but also you'll want to do things like throw a phaser through, a whole bunch of phasers. Let's face it, it's Ranzee. In a line. So this would be a good module for you in that sense, because you could be the one you put your serial chain of pedals through.
Yeah. And we're not talking about Kellogg's cornflakes here, people.
Cereal with an S.
Oh, no.
Cereal chain killers. Chainsaw massacres. Speaking of Chainsaw Massacre enthusiasts, How's Andy going in that drive over in the Bay Area there, hey?
Yeah, I'm expecting some car karaoke, but he's not been playing ball.
No.
It's paused. Is he disconnected?
Freezing.
Oh,
Maybe
no.
he hasn't.
The minute we go over to him, he's just frozen. Oh, there he is.
It's a San Luis Reservoir here on the way to
Wow.
Los Baños.
Oh, so down south.
No, this is Pacheco Pass going to Yosemite.
Oh, okay, Yosemite. Okay, so I didn't hear you say that.
So on the right is
Well,
San Luis Reservoir.
Yep. It's quite dry, isn't it, around there?
I mean, this is when all the European grasses came from with the settlers. This is the Golden Hills. It's before that. They're all annual grasses that die like this.
Yeah.
Used to be all bunch grasses.
Very nice,
Perennial bunch
picturesque.
grasses.
Amazing sky.
Very nice.
Nice,
it's
very nice.
looking-
Very nice day. It's a bit like our day. It's been a pretty good day here, hasn't it, Rans? In Western
I
Australia.
got a bit sunburned today, actually. I had to watch my kids play.
Shock horror.
Yeah. I'm looking like a...
You'd probably
That-
yeah, you have to worry.
looking like a
worry about that.
lobster. I've got that good old English skin, hey, that just burns. There's no tanning on this
Yeah, me
this
too.
little black duck.
I'm there with you, man.
Lobster up,
I'm
I
as pale
do.
as you guys are.
Actually, my GP tells me I don't get enough sunlight.
I do want to go back to this graphic, sorry. Where were we? How come that's not working? Where's menus graphic? Alright, can we go back? No, other way. I want to talk about this for a sec, guys.
Yeah.
How do you guys... When you guys saw this news, right? The Kyra is being discontinued, okay? And then I saw a photo of the guy that originally developed... You guys know the story about the Kyra, right? How it was developed by an English gentleman. I forget his name, so I'm just saying English gentleman to be nice, because I forgot his name. But developed by a guy in his backyard, basically, for many, many, many years. And then Waldorf picked it up as a project because, I don't know, he kind of lost interest in finishing, or maybe it was just too big for him. I'm not sure of the story, but I thought it was a cool thing that Waldorf picked up the Kyra, and they may not have quite made it exactly how he envisaged. I think we may have even shown a prototype of his original before the Waldorf one. Anyway, but I think a lot of people who own the Kyra were pretty impressed with it. To be fair, it's you know, it's your sort of epitome of a VA, isn't it? At the end of the day, but it's pretty action packed. What's in there? Like, there's a hell of a lot of stuff in there, right? So, yeah. What were your thoughts about this news? That they're discontinuing it. They're going to sell off what's remaining in stock. So there's a bit of a discount. What is it, about €200 off? That's not a massive discount, is it? It's a bit of a discount.
Is it? Really?
Yeah.
The Kyra doesn't have
And
analog
you get a
filters, right?
free-
Isn't it all cold digital stuff?
It's all digital, yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
does anyone
I
care?
don't care about analog, so digital sounds as good as that, I think, in my ears.
I thought the filters on it sounded amazing. If that was a question, but what was the guy's name?
But it's not as good as the XT, right?
I'm not familiar with it, so
Manuel
I'm not. I just-
Microwave XT.
Caballero? Is that his name? Manuel Caballero?
On the Waldorf page, it
I
doesn't
can't
mention,
remember.
It doesn't mention him at all.
Someone, I'm sure. We wrote Manuel Caballero as well. Yeah. Anyway, so the original prototype that he did, I remember seeing a photo of it years ago, and he could never finish the project, and so Waldorf picked it up and they made it into the Kyra, but they're discontinuing it, and I'm trying to work out why. Are they discontinuing it because they're not selling them? Are they discontinuing it because they've got chip shortages? Like, what's the reason why they're discontinuing it? And
Probably because they're not selling it.
And probably the second question I want to ask you guys is, that's the first question. The second question is, will Waldorf open source the code for this so that we can keep updating this thing?
Probably not, if I'm honest.
Who do we know that uses one?
I want to say, you know, Ken Flux with it, Pierce.
Yeah.
I want to say he had one, but I could be wrong. Or maybe he had one for a little while, and maybe he had to give it back. I know someone like Ken has got one, and I've got a feeling. Someone like Ty Unwin would have one, wouldn't he? He's got about every cent. He's got a synth museum in his backyard. There'd probably be one in our sort of extended family, like the Pro Synth Network family. There'd be someone in there that would have one, no doubt. There's thousands of us in that extended family, right? So yeah, I kind of feel like they should open source the code. Like do a mutable instruments thing here. Open source it.
Wagyu in the chats, if what Wagyu said is true, he says that it's all FPGA based.
Mm.
And
there's plenty of people out there that can do FPGA.
Yeah, I know, but technically FPGAs are... It's hard to call them code sometimes. It's not pseudocode. You don't write it like a traditional, like writing in C or somewhere. It's kind of process driven. It's a subtle thing, but I thought maybe it's a case of that's a bit harder to share that kind of source code than a traditional, like, loaded up on GitHub type scenario that you have with modern MCUs and stuff like that. That falls under the category of mutable instruments type technology. So I don't know if that...
There's a UK...
It still would be a project, though. Mm. So you would still see... Even though the code itself compiles for the FPGA is different, there would still be a development platform that you would see, like, readable software code that you can read and interpret, and it would be commented. It would be laid out in classes and functions and things like that. There would definitely be that it would, you'd see an oscillator section, you would see a patch management section, you'd see a filter section, so you'd be able to look at all that sort of stuff, no doubt.
Yeah,
there's the UK distributor for this has got a B stock one for £995, which seems quite a good price, actually, doesn't it?
Well, it's cheaper than €1,700.
It certainly is, yeah, and that's obviously
so I give you the tip. I'd be jumping on that one.
Yeah.
B-stock is not a bad thing.
Anybody free standard shipping, it says. Obviously, it's just in the UK, but anybody who wants one, that's probably the one to go for.
I have to look at the specs. So I know nothing about it. I'm just surprised. I've never heard of it before.
It's handinhand.uk net is the distributor.
Was it called the Valkyrie or something?
Kyra, it just says it's the Waldorf Kyra VA synth B stock.
No, but originally was it
the original one?
When the guy was developing it, was it called? Yeah, the Valkyrie. There you go.
Yeah.
That's what I remember, and I reckon we showed that on the show in the early days. You'd have to go back, troll through the archives. You'd find it somewhere. But apparently when Waldorf picked up the code, apparently it was full of bugs, so they had to get someone to like clean it up, and there might have been some decisions made. If it's the Valkyrie that we're talking about, that was different to the Kyra, like if they end up being two completely different synths, there might have been some decisions made, right? That because they had to clean up all this code that wasn't working properly, that they might have gone, okay, we can't actually have this feature, so let's toss it. It's not going to stop it from being a VA, maybe. I don't know. But how good is it compared to a virus, right? An access virus. How good is it compared to that? Because it's probably in that corner, isn't it? Yeah.
Same
I don't know. I
space.
mean, I never touched one, so I don't know. Never played one.
No, I never heard one. Never.
No, me neither.
I've never heard anybody say anything about them.
No.
So
Well, it had
Yeah,
something
I mean,
incredible
I've
with voices. Like, it
lived
was
in a
something like
cave.
128 voices or something. Living in a cave, Andy.
Yeah.
You don't live in a cave.
I mean, it could be chip
It-
shortage,
it-
but it could be just the fact that it's not selling.
Yeah, and it had some trouble with the user interface. If you needed to change values from 0 to 7,000 something, there was no way to
Jump.
make fast scrolling. You had to scroll through it all.
take 5 minutes
They,
to
ne-
get
they
there.
never fixed that. They never fixed that. They
Okay,
should
so
have made them.
they borrowed Roland's user interface, did they?
Yeah. It's a
But,
risk,
but
isn't
it did sound good. Loop Up has a good video review about it.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I thought we'd talk about that because I think it's in our world. It's not a new product. It's a product that's leaving, and sometimes I find it sad to see products leave. I find it sad. It's almost like, should we have a wake? Should we get a few beers out, boys? And
Yeah, but if you don't use
See
it,
it off.
you lose it. As the saying goes.
if you don't buy it, you lose it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And there is, there's such a amount of stuff available now with the Arturia stuff coming out as well, and I mean,
It's a lot of money for a punt.
it's got to be
isn't it?
saturated, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of money for a punt if you're not sure.
Yeah.
Well, if I was going to splash some money to Waldorf right now, it wouldn't be that. I'm sorry,
No.
Waldorf, but I would be getting myself, Quantum or the M, something like that. That to me, they are a much more desirable synth for me personally. The various reasons, but that I've never really been like I actually sold a VA recently. I sold the Korg Radius, right? It was a good VA. Korg did a good job of that. It's a bit old now, but they did a pretty good job of it. But for me, the laptop or the DAW, the amount of cool stuff that you can get with VST plugins now is so good. It's does this synth really have a place in current and future synthesizer, studios when you've got such good VSTs? You've got Cherry Audio, you've got Arturia, you've got Roland doing some good stuff now. Do we need a hardware VA? Like, that's the question, and maybe the answer is no.
Yeah, maybe. But there were people still really... people loved that Access Virus TI. And that was
I love the virus.
still
It's
around
great.
the time
Way better
when...
than a Kyra.
Yeah. And the thing about it is that this was at the same time that, Arturia were coming out with absolutely stonking, analog simulations that everyone was raving about, and a large
Very
portion of the
Origin.
community, and people were still like, yeah, but it's the Access Virus is still something I make my music with. So you're reading through the magazines. I remember certain issues of magazines. You had the Access Virus TI being talked about in an expose on a particular artist, next to the adverts for Arturia and the reviews of the Arturia. It was a weird place because you said there's people who were saying, "Oh no, we've moved, we've turned the corner," and there's people saying, "No, I'm keeping my Access Virus TI. I've heard the others and I'm still keeping this." So there was something about it. I don't know if it was just the whole sort of hardware versus software tweakability thing. There was, I don't know, there's something a bit more advanced about the hardware and VA at that time. I just don't know if it's the same now.
I'm just having a look at some of the chatties comments, and there's some good ones in here, like Wagoose having a dig at me about me finally selling my Radius. Yeah, well, it's gone. Elvis has left the building. So the Kyra, apparently the final design was done by Axel Hartmann. And if you look at photos of the Valkyrie versus the Kyra, you'll know exactly why Axel Hartmann has that name that he's earned for himself. It's definitely much more improved in visual ergonomics. Like a synth designer knows what he's doing versus someone who's made a prototype.
I have to say something to Andy, Synth Addict.
Yeah.
I keep muting you because you are a bit noisy.
Sorry. Just one quick comment though before you mute me again. Is the Kyra 60-part multi-timbral?
I think it's multi-timbral, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is, but I can't find out off the top of my head.
I'll find out.
Okay, JX3D will find it. You can lose the chatties comments if you like, and go back to the main.
Yeah, I have to get back to that screen. Hang on.
All right, so that was the news. Okay, so I think that a lot of the news that we see during the week, there's software updates for this. There's a new plugin for that. There's something or other's come out from some artist, and they had I usually kind of avoid those ones. I'm just letting you know. So there are other shows that will cover that. So I'm more of a, I guess I get in trouble for this, but I am more of a sort of guy, in a sense. But I'm not really. Like I use software, so it's not like I'm hardware only, and I will never talk about software. But I genuinely sort of like to talk about hardware in the news, and I do apologise if that upsets people.
By the way, the Kyra is 128 voices on 8 parts.
8 parts. There you go. Yeah.
Not bad.
So to give you an idea, right? Software wise, right? There's new baby audio plugins. There's new Atom Audio giveaway GeForce things. There's Universal Audio have got new pedals that you can put into your DAW. There's a new update for the firmware of the Groove Synthesis third wave. Like, these are the things I could be talking about on the show, but do you know what I mean? They're not like probably that newsworthy, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, this makes sense, yeah.
There is a new Strymon thing out though, which I thought was interesting. That's the Deco Tape Echo pedal, and it's an effects plugin, so it's not a physical thing. It's a VST / audio unit / whatever. So I thought that was interesting as well. But if you do get that out, check it out. I would recommend that you have a look at, if you've got Ableton 11, have a look at the new Echo. It's in the delay section of your audio effects in Ableton. Yeah. It is really cool.
It's really
what Ableton have done with that.
I had the demo version for 30 days or whatever, and I played around with that a little bit. It's really, really good. Yeah.
What sort of delay time are you getting on it?
I can't remember.
I don't know if I even looked at that, Andy, but I'm pretty sure you can go up to 130 seconds, but all the way down to half, that sort of stuff, really slow. Go for it.
Muted.
We muted you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
I mean, I have to say, I think I'll probably end up buying Ableton 11 at some point in the future, because there is so much things on the Max for Live elements, lots of randomization stuff and all of that sort of thing that you can do, which you couldn't do before. So I would, it is on my radar at some point in the future, but it'll have to be when I've got some spare cash, when I stop buying bits of hardware.
Yeah, stop talking about hardware, Ranz.
Sorry.
Actually, I'll show you guys. So is it this button? Yep, you guys can see that. So under audio effects, you've got this new section here under the delay and loop section called Echo, and you literally just pop that in there,
Drag and drop.
and you get this really nice interface here. So in terms of delay, it goes 164 all the way down to 1. There you go.
1 bar.
So that's that is synced, and then unsynced, you've got 2.5 seconds all the way up to 1 millisecond. Interesting graphics happening there when I'm moving that around, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
That's very cool.
Oh, look at that. Very cool.
I assume
The
it's a
thing that I like
soundstage.
about this is that you can... So if you draw this effect into your track, right, you can change the sync time, right? And then if you set... where is it? In the back, the character... If you set this to re-pitch down the bottom, you've got this already selected by default, so you don't have to touch it. When you draw in automation on this, you don't need to see it now, but it will literally give you that cool sort of thing where you're hearing that delay and it goes higher in pitch and faster, or slower and lower in pitch. So it's like more of that old-fashioned sort of echo thing that you get,
like
and
a
it's
tape
really
echo.
cool fun to play. It's really cool fun to play with. It may even feature in my new album.
Hey.
Oh. Hint, hint, hint.
There's something like that on the Apple Logic too. I'm pretty sure that they took from the was it Camel? What did Apple buy out? The Camel Audio? Yeah, I think it was them, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure they
I've got
stole.
Logic.
Talking about Alchemy.
Alchemy, that was it.
Alchemy.
That might have been it. Yeah.
I mean,
Camel fat, camel space, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't use.
I used to have it, and I was so sad that that company got bought out by Apple because they'd stopped making it for Ableton and other DAWs.
It's actually part of GarageBand. If you go to your iPad or iPhone, the Alchemy's inside.
That's it. Yeah, because I'm going to say I thought I remembered Alchemy being part of the iPad, but yeah, Andy's right. It's on the iPad under GarageBand. But yeah, and I mean I've got Logic, but I don't use Logic very often. You know, being a Reaper boy.
I mean, look,
keep the faith, Andy. Keep the faith. Sorry.
The delay
Andy's
effects.
also Andy's also a Reaper guy.
Sound.
Chatties were saying, like Wagoo was saying, like I'd buy Ableton if it came with a free push 3.
Yes.
Yeah, bloody hell,
You don't
yes.
say that about native instruments. I bet you he doesn't.
Even
say
if
that.
it came with a push 2, I'd buy it if it was free.
I'd buy a Machine if it came with a Machine Studio Plus. Yeah. I mean, everyone.
I think it was a crazy price. I just bought 10 and then 11 came and
that was a
I
bit.
had to pay the same again. That was stupid. So I haven't upgraded.
Yeah, I mean the only reason I don't buy Ableton is because I have got all the Max for Live plugins on Max MSP. So so far that's the only reason I've not bought it really. I have used it in the past. I the last time I had a full blown version was 9.
The only criticism I have with it and you'll definitely agree with me here is when you're actually mixing and mastering, I kind of feel like Ableton doesn't have that X factor in that side.
I never mixed or mastered in it. I always recorded in it.
So that's where Pro Tools
and then stemmed out. And I've always to be fair, I've always mixed and mastered in Reaper.
I was going to
a
say
little bit in Logic, but
Pro Tools will probably be one of the best ones in that world. But I've actually used Studio Live by Presonus because I feel like they've
Studio One.
Studio One.
That's it. Yeah, Studio One. Yeah. I like the way Studio One does. Oh, and Bert and Azio Head in the chat saying the same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
I mean, I have used. Last time I used Pro Tools was 8. That's a long time ago,
Bollocks
isn't
to
it?
Pro Tools. Bollocks to the way Pro Tools license. Yeah, I don't use Pro Tools anymore. We go.
No,
I use Studio One now. Yeah, it's just visually right. We're getting older, and I know some of you guys are not. that are watching the show, but us older blokes, our eyesight changes. We have to correct our close work. We have to go and see the optometrist every year.
Someone's only got one working eye.
Try and mix in Ableton is not as easy as mixing in those other DAWs. It's just that's one of the downfalls of Ableton. But arranging and clip and samples and all that sort of stuff, it absolutely
live work
is brilliant.
Yeah. And the good thing about Reaper is you can change the way it looks to however you want. You know, there's a whole load of skins out there that you can just download for free and put and do what you want with it, really.
Or write your own. I wrote my own.
Oh, write your own, yeah. I've not done that.
From Notepad, ground up. Blank Notepad
page. Andy.
Yeah.
It's
not that hard.
And it's cheap. It's really cheap, isn't it? Is it $60 for a license?
£60 a year.
Sorry, it's not even a year.
No, it's £60 for 2 versions.
Yeah, I mean, because you keep getting updates fairly regularly, and at some point it'll say, "Oh, you need to buy the new version," which I think I've done it twice now, and I've been using it for at least 10 years.
Guys, what I like about Reaper is that you can run it on Linux, you can run it on Mac, and you can run it on Windows. So literally, if one of these companies goes belly up, you're safe with Reaper.
I started using Reaper when I did a master's in music tech, and they were using Macs in the recording studios that I was working in, and I was on Windows. Yeah, but you're a better pitcher than me. So I was able to put the whole project on an external hard drive. And
I can't make you bigger. I wanted to make.
There we are. I'm back now.
I've overridden him.
Yeah, I was able to actually put the whole project on external hard drive, and then I'd be able to go wherever and use whatever operating system. And I think that was the only DAW I found that would be able to do that. You know, and that's when I first started using it, which must have been more than 10 years ago. Actually, I said 10 years. It was probably 12 or 13 years ago that I started using it.
Yeah, it's cheaper. It's lighter on the CPU.
Yeah. And once you get the hang of it, it's quicker.
What is going on here?
I'm
random.
I'm just making fun.
Yeah.
You are definitely making
He's
fun.
messing us.
Yeah, he is. I'm quick. Hey, I'm quicker at Reaper than anything else. So if I'm working with somebody, I'm time is of the essence, and they're paying per hour. I will work in Reaper unless they ask me to work in Logic, because I'm slow in Logic. I don't use it often enough. I occasionally use it for my own projects because I want to learn more about Logic. And that's got its own quirks. But no, I'm really quick in Reaper.
So basically, where I got to was like where you are looking at. I'll just go to the field view. No, field view. That view. There we go. That one's better. When you're looking at, you've got all your individual tracks, right, in your song, and what you want to do is I want to make sure that every single track in the song is hitting the master, and I want to make sure that none of them are peaking or none of them are clipping and things like that. In Ableton, it just isn't that clear. So I find like those other DAWs, you can really visually see those things. You can go to different types of, whether you're looking at the VU LED type style, or you can go with an audio waveform view, or you can look at multiple tracks, but not all of them at the same time, and then compare it to the master. And then the way those things, like I'm looking at Studio One, for example, right? The way it handles limiting and soft clipping and things like that is different to the way Ableton handles it. So you will get more of a pro result, if that makes sense. So, so at the moment, what I've done with my album that I'm producing is I've mixed the whole thing in Ableton, and I'm going through this, the semi-mastering stage right now, where I'm checking to see how it sounds on different audio platforms like speakers and headphones and cars and kitchens and stuff like that, right? And I've gone and put it into Studio One, and I found that I've got that process is probably 10 times quicker.
Yeah.
So once you've made your track, stem it out, chuck it in Studio One or chuck it in Reaper, and visually you can get there 10 times quicker instead of faffing about with these tiny little. Like, look at this, right? We'll go to the Ableton view. Okay, this is my
That was the hardest thing I found going to
my
Ableton.
session view. I've got this tiny little part here. This is it here that I'm looking at with the track. Now, I can't make that much bigger. There's a few things that I can make bigger, but I can't make that much bigger.
That's funny, Rance, because that's exactly what I did the first time I opened live ever. Was go, how can I make this? What's wrong? It's not moving. It's not getting bigger.
Yeah.
That section of the screen, and then I went, oh, that's right. It's not the philosophy. It's a different philosophy. I've got to get into a different mindset. But yeah, I'm now arriving in the same kind of area as you guys. I think with looking at live for the really good real time and inspirational and fast moving type stuff, and power and reliability. I notice it's a lot more reliable than some of the other DAWs I'm trying. But for mixing, I still really love my Cakewalk Sonar Producer X3.
That's not bad. Yeah,
because it does have the Pro channel strips, and it has the whole flexibility of like you said, you can have different views, you can have different horizontal, different size. You could customize all of the level meters, all that kind of stuff, and it really does. It does a good job of giving you that kind of I'm a mixing desk type vibe, which I don't know if that's now something that is permanently burnt into my brain that means that I respond to it better, or whether it is just a intuitively better way of working. I really don't know, but it's definitely also on that list of classic. It's the DAW you know how to work in fast, exactly what Ian said. And when you've got people who need stuff done, or when you need stuff done quickly, you go to the program that you could do it quickly in with the least amount of frustration.
I mean, I have
a lot of people say that with DAWs.
Yeah, I have used live with for clip launching and things like jobs like that, and I thought it was great for that particular project that I was doing at the time. It's a few years ago now, but it's not. It didn't really work for me in terms of, I certainly wouldn't mix with it, and I certainly wouldn't master in it. But you're right about the size of stuff. I like things big.
Well, yeah. I mean, you've got this. I've got these massive 27-inch, 30-inch monitors here, and I'm still, putting the reading glasses on to try and see, like, what level is that? That's minus 10 decibels. Hang on, no, minus 11 decibels. It's like, what the hell? Let's just give up and not
definitely
do it.
Seems to be made for young eyes, doesn't it? The Ableton stuff, but I think they're optimizing it definitely for that kind of that sort of stream of usage where people have fairly modest sized screens, but they need to get a lot done. And that's why it's always been that philosophy, and they've never, they've always resisted the whole sort of making it too customizable, because they believe in their philosophy of, no, we've worked it out, we know what's best for you in this case. And to be honest, they have shown by their market share that they actually are succeeding there. So
I was kind of hoping that Bitwig. Bitwig.
I was going to open that all up.
I got a license for Bitwig when I bought my instrument, and it was limited to I think 8 tracks, and I did install it and I played with it for a while, but I just really didn't bond with it at all, really. Just didn't do it for me.
I like it.
You like it?
That's the way.
The Spongman is here, people.
Hey. Hi.
Sorry, Henrik.
Hey, you go, buddy.
Let's get Kent the link to StreamYard if he wants.
Yeah.
Just chuck it in.
Hang on,
in the
I
chat.
have to cover it from here.
Thank you very much. Sorry to interrupt you there, Henrik. We'll come back to you, obviously. We just,
It's okay.
royalties arrived.
Her Majesty.
How are you,
Kent's
champ?
Bond, yes.
You good? Jump in if you want. If you're not feeling up to it, then I completely understand. But if you do want it, there's the link. Jump in. And anyone else, by the way, if they want to jump in. Cool.
I don't like live Ableton Live because I think it's. I like the live things, but not the arranger. It's so simple. But I come from Cubase and I'm used to use Cubase, so I can't compose in Ableton Live. I can do that in Cubase. And then I have Bitwig, and that's because of the modular synthesizers in Bitwig. And I like them a lot. Yeah. And I use Bitwig a lot when I have to make small stingers for YouTube. So that's why I make almost all my stingers for the senior synth show and such.
So you're a Bitwig fan. There you go.
Yeah, I bought it. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I also bought Ableton Live, but that was the 10, not 11. I think I felt cheated when they came with 11 and it cost the same. It was stupid. Almost the same.
I don't think any of us really do sort of have a happy reaction when we have to pay money for our software upgrades. Because, you know,
Or if it's
hardware synth owners.
When you upgrade Cubase, you only pay around 100 for the next version. You don't pay 300 or 400 for the next version.
I went through about 10 versions of Cakewalk through an upgrade paths that were like $40 something each year. To the point where we actually got to a point where I was just paying a yearly subscription, and that wasn't too bad. And then Gibson destroyed it.
Oh, that's right.
So that's pretty much the worst experience you can have is when they actually rip it out from underneath you. Yeah. Fortunately, they left everything, like all the server registration and
Didn't
stuff,
Roland
working.
own it for a bit?
Yes, yes, they did. Yeah,
they? Okay.
Yeah, before Gibson.
Earlier than
Before Gibson.
Before Gibson, yeah.
Yeah. Gibson was a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, I was the platinum owner of lifetime updates and all the rest of it. So I ditched it.
I'm not surprised.
Went to Studio One and then Reaper. But I mean, Cakewalk by BandLab, I thought, oh well, that's okay. Cakewalk by BandLab. I never went back to using it, but I thought it was great for people who did want to use the Sonar stuff still. But even that's going now because they're releasing, re-releasing it back as Sonar again.
It's been sold to another sort of startup type place by BandLab.
So it's a shame because.
Because they stopped the free one. It's like constantly changing all these things. It's like
If anyone ever
said
to me if anyone said to me what door, I'd say, well, if you haven't made your mind up yet, just try that Cakewalk for BandLab.
Yeah,
and see how you get on because it's free.
And not anymore though.
It really is a different answer, isn't it? Depending on whether
one of the cool features that Cakewalk has that maybe you guys probably don't ever touch, but if you ever play with old MIDI file format 0, right, and you needed to then change it to MIDI file format 1, and a lot of people don't know what the difference is, but there is a massive difference, and sometimes your DAW doesn't know how to handle MIDI file format 0. Cakewalk inbuilt will transform your MIDI file format from 0 to 1, and it's built in. It's always been built in for many years. It's one of the cool features of
drag and
Cakewalk.
drop.
In fact, probably what it does better than a lot of DAWs is it's very good with MIDI. It's actually extremely good with MIDI. So SysX, control, NRPNs, RPNs, all that sort of stuff. It's actually really good at it.
Yeah, and
it's still the code is still there in the free version.
It's just the user interface is a little bit impenetrable in that area. They became towards Platinum. It was still it was all there. It was all still there, but it was all very much sort of buried in the back of the manual for For newcomers, it was very hard to get into. But if you come from the early days of Cakewalk, you'd know where everything was.
Oh yeah, the manual was like A4. It was an A4 manual, about that thick. It was a massive manual.
It was. I never printed it out though.
I did.
Hey, so Andy, how long ago did you start? No, I just want to know, Andy, how long ago did you start with Cakewalk? Because I don't know. I think
version 3.
I'm thinking. I'm about version 2. So I started with
it was a Windows,
a really old IBM computer. It was a really old IBM, like I think it might have been a 286 processor in those days, right? We're talking
12-tone
80s.
systems.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, 12-tone systems.
It came free with the one that I got. Came free with a Sound Blaster card. It was a Sound Blaster card. It was a Sound Blaster card.
Sound Blaster Live 16 or something.
Yeah, it had the email.
No, because it had the MIDI stuff on it.
AWE one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's how long I've been using Cakewalk up until that point.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was MIDI only.
It was.
Back in them
Yeah,
days.
it was before though.
Well, I gotta go now. I promised the wife it would last for 2.5 hours, so I better leave now. But
Okay.
it's your show, I'm Ranzee, so you can just run it.
Yeah. I've got it. I've got control.
He has
We'll
control.
finish up in a
You
minute
have control.
anyway.
It's like one
has
pilot
control.
transferring to another pilot. You have control.
Before I leave,
Like flag.
remember next week on it will be Saturday evening around 22 UK time PM. I will have a release party online for my new album.
Yay.
So join me on the JX3D channel.
Yeah.
Sorry, when was that, Henry?
Send me the link.
It's 10
Send me the
o'clock
link,
at night.
please.
Yeah, 10 o'clock night.
Yeah, I might not.
on Saturday next
make
week.
it, but I'll try and watch that later.
Please send me the link,
Yeah,
and I'll
have
put
a-
it
have a-
on.
Have a
I'll
good
put it on the
launch party.
stuff.
We'll have a look.
Yeah.
later.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah,
Yeah,
good
yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
on the stuff, on the
And,
blog article and things like that.
Yeah, and I enjoyed being here today. So thank you all for helping me.
Well done as host.
Thank you,
No,
Henry.
well done as host. Yeah, no, you did
You
great.
did a
Nice
better
work.
job than me, mate. You
Now
did
you
awesome.
have okay.
Cheers, Henry.
Bye bye.
See you
Cheers,
later.
mate. Good work, mate. He's still here.
I know it's the awkward pause.
I know he's not.
Oh, bless him.
All right, let's get some stuff organised. All right, cool. We'll probably do about another 20, 30 minutes. So
Cool, mate.
I've got one more segment to get through. People,
Go for it.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Would you like to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No sound, but hey. You know what? There's got to be. Sorry. What number is that? That is 16. 16. Oh, I know why now.
I had one of them.
Let me just do this again. Tell me if this works.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
yes.
That works.
I think something broke.
Yeah.
I had the bus tunnel turned off on A. That's probably why they didn't work. Well, maybe I didn't. Maybe the people that wrote the software did. But we'll just blame me for now. New Stinger, I'll turn that on. And Funny Side Stinger, I'll turn that on. So that should work in the future. If we're doing StreamYard. Anyway, it doesn't actually affect it if I'm doing the normal show. Okay, let's get into this. Yamaha DX7 FD, which is basically the same as mine.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, this was sent in by Eddie, who you guys know as Froze,
Yeah.
in the chat. I think £1,500 might be a bit overs.
It's very scammy, that.
Just very, very, yeah. Now, I think I might even have the live auction. Let me just double check.
Does the
If we do have the live auction, it's always worth checking these out.
FD is the one with the floppy disk, isn't
That's
it?
in the
Floppy disk.
Yeah,
It sure
and
is.
and the
That-
card.
and you
yeah.
can see it. Now, if I go here, you'll be able to see it better.
A cartridge.
And a cartridge, yeah.
The floppy disk. The floppy disk is down the bottom here, right?
Yeah.
Why is that pausing?
I've still got some floppy disks for a DX7 Mark II FD if anybody wants them.
Yeah, and you do need to use the double density ones. You can't use
you
the
do.
full density
HD,
ones.
You do.
Yep, and they're hard to get now.
Incompatible.
Yeah.
Look, this is a damn good DX7 if you can get one, but I just don't think you should be paying that.
Not at that
anyway.
price, no.
Yeah. All right, so there's that one. What else we got? Now, after my own heart. This is not scamming in any way, shape, or form. You do not see these for sale very often, people, and it is actually currently on Reverb, and it's listed for $2,000 in Australian, which is about $1,000 in the British currency, and it is currently available. It may not ship to Australia, but let's have a look at the photos anyway, because you're actually getting two of the little suckers.
Sometimes that's the only thing we get.
The 3. Now the 7 is the one that was in was in the Oxygen album, the one on the right.
Right.
Wow. So just remember, back in the day, you had an organ, and you whacked this thing on top of it, and then all of a sudden now you
had a whole orchestra.
Getting all the grannies to dance at the local.
I borrowed my father's, which was an Elka. I had an Elka, same sort of thing. Not quite as good as a mini pop though, but it did. My first ever EP was all done with an Elka.
Is that trapdoor where thing comes out with its hand and goes back in again?
Well, yeah.
Thing from the Monsters.
Yeah.
But look at the Kujada. Kujada is there, people. And the Guiro. This is the real Oxygen one, people.
Yeah.
If you're wondering. And you do have to... Yeah, it's got the 2 buttons plugged in. You've got to do the 2 buttons. Unfortunately, all that little labelling there has come off. But anyway, you're showing that.
Yeah.
These things were made in the 1970s, so you can't expect these things to be pristine. There are a few pristine ones out there, but okay, let's be fair. And I think $1,000 for 2 for a 3 and 7 is actually not too bad. So that's not a scam price I mentioned before, right? So that I reckon would disappear pretty quickly. I would suggest. In Lyon, I went to Lyon once. They've got a massive university there in Lyon. We won't talk about that though. Next. This is a vintage Poly Moog. This one was for Kent. I know he wants this. He wants to have this to fix.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Absolutely not.
Imagine price the caps like that. Yeah.
Look at that, hey? Look at that. I actually really like the look of these. I know some people will probably cringe at this.
Yes, I played one when it first came out at a show. I thought it was horrible. I really did. I never liked it.
I like it. It looks like
that's when I went off and bought.
Looks like a leather jacket that you'd buy from the cheapest leather jacket store.
Yeah.
From an op shop. Yeah.
Yeah. I was being.
You can imagine one of these leaning up in the corner. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Next to the.
But this is a true poly. This is a true poly synth, right?
Oh yeah.
This is a true one. Yeah. You can have some fun with this though.
Maybe. If it was working and stayed working.
It was working.
Well, you can put your dinner on it and stuff, can't you?
Yeah.
Actually, where's
somewhere to put your iPad?
Andy, you could just drive down. It's in San Diego, mate. It's only a couple of hours drive for you. You could go and get that. Pick that up. Just turn the car around. You're going the wrong direction. Okay. What else we got? Oh, this. This.
Oh, wow.
This is a thing of beauty. How often do you see these, people? Come on.
Rarely as hell. This is Alex Ball had one of these, didn't he, in his video where he showed the System 100M, the extra ones. Yeah.
So this is the System 100, not the System 100M, just so we clarify that. The System 100 is slightly different. There is actually a System 100 keyboard for sale by the same people. I can probably bring it up if you need to. But I thought the sequencer was a bit rarer, the 104 sequencer. And $4,000 is probably, I don't know. I think it's probably a bit over. It is live.
For just the sequencer, yeah.
But yeah, we can... I think there's only 2 photos of it. Yeah. But chunky electronics is the thing of the 70s, hey. Let's design chunky electronics. It has been tested and is in excellent working condition and comes with the original box. Wow. Well, show us a photo of the box, silly.
Yeah.
People like to see that stuff. Hello, I've just sold like 40 things on Reverb, so I think I might know what I'm talking about. They give you feedback. Trust me, people give you feedback.
Oh, cool.
The last one was sent in by Jack in Discord, and that is this. And we can go to the live website because it is still exactly the same price. You cannot be serious, Guitar Center. This is not even the recommended retail price for this product. How much did you pay for yours? Your S1.
My S1.
So they're all the same price. The S1, the T8, they're all the same price.
$200 and something Australian.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's 3 and a
170
bit times. Yeah.
That's
excellent
the T8
condition.
is much more than that.
Just to prove to you, it is
As opposed
live
to
on Guitar Center's website. There it is there.
They're having a laugh.
That's got to be a mistake. But it's hilarious that no one's, or that they've not listened to anyone telling them it's a mistake.
This item does not ship to Australia. Well, what if I don't live in Australia? How do you know? How do you know these things? No, I know how to know. Right.
It's the cookies.
Yeah.
I blame the
Stop
cookies.
messing with our cookies, people.
Can I just say hello to my son, who is currently in Sydney? He's not watching, by the way, but he's in Sydney with his
You can
He'd be asleep.
Yeah.
Yes.
He probably is. We've seen lots of photographs. Yeah, he will be asleep. Yeah, yeah. But he's gone over to your country for a visit.
Oh.
So
I hope we bring him back to you in one piece then.
yeah, I'm sure he will. Yeah. No, he's loving it. You know.
Cool.
I mean, I intend to come over at some point.
Awesome.
But Perth might be a bit far from.
Everyone says that.
Yeah. He's
It's inconvenient getting over here.
in Cairns, which is still a bit of a trek, isn't it, to you guys?
Yeah. It's in the middle of Australia.
Yeah.
Just a little bit to the right. Yeah.
I was just reading comments from the chatties. The illustrious chatties. I'm trying to work out what this question is from CMKMNKY or whatever it is. CRNKMN. Yeah, maybe that.
Crank Monkey.
Cranky Monkey. Yeah.
that'll
What's
do.
with the fake drop shadow?
Drop shadow.
What's he talking about? What are you talking about? Fake drop shadow.
Picture of the T8, maybe? I don't know.
Don't think so.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah.
All right.
I think it was sitting on the box.
Yeah, I can't see a drop shadow on that. Maybe he was talking about the. I think he might have been talking about the System 100. Yeah, he might have been talking about that. That's got like a kind of bad Photoshop thing on it. Here we go. Let's show this comment, shall we?
The System 100 are a fake shadow.
Like I said, Kent, it looks like a really cheap leather jacket.
Yeah.
So now reread what you just wrote.
Yeah. Ken,
Well, you could certainly wipe it clean anyway.
Oh, I've got that image in my head now, Kent. So thanks very much. For that.
That's yeah.
Okay.
That spoils it forever.
Think backseat of a Morris Minor.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
yes, yeah.
As it's conked out because it overheated on a 3 degrees day.
Yeah.
We've all been there, people.
We have, actually.
The 1970s was a wonderful period of time where we had beautiful car reliability.
I had a Morris 1000 van.
Yeah. Oh, Morris was an amazing company.
Yeah.
They were amazing.
With dodgy seats in the back. Somebody put they put carpet. Actually, Andy would like this. They put carpet on the inside of the van to cut down the noise. It was great. It was a gig van. I slept in it. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Do you remember that? Yeah. Do you remember that meme we did a few weeks ago, Ian, where we showed the gear was more expensive than the actual price of the car that you had inside it?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was so true in the 80s and the 70s. That was so true. Like you would have, you would have a house. You could buy a house with some of the gear that that some of these bands toured with. The CS80s and the that sort of stuff, right? You could literally buy a house with these things, and they put them in Morris minor vans.
Yeah. No carpet, but grass and beautiful Merced. Here's some grass for you.
Nice asphalt.
Yeah.
How do I do this? It's an In-N-Out Burger, Martin Luther King Jr. way.
Wow.
Popeye's chicken. Very classy.
Yeah, trying to get.
Stop to stretch the legs. That's all.
There we go.
Lovely day.
All right, you're full screen now, champ.
There you go.
Give us a tour.
In-N-Out Burger, Martin Luther
Oh, In-N-Out Burger.
In-N-Out
Burger.
Popeye's
Yes.
chicken. Taco Bell. Oh yeah. Subway sandwiches.
The epitome of the
All
staple
the
of the
mod-cons.
American diet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any processed food you want.
There's no diabetes here. What are you talking about?
Wendy's over there.
Wendy's. We're getting Wendy's over here now. We've had Wendy's, but they were only like an ice cream, right?
They
you could
still
have
have
the
the
ice
square
cream.
burgers?
Now we're getting the proper burger Wendy's over here.
Oh, nice.
Are they square still? Burgers
I don't know. They're not here
square.
yet. They just announced it.
Oh.
They haven't opened yet.
Okay.
We don't have Wendy's.
The council around here needs to fix up some of this pavement, though. It's pretty,
Well, we've got roads that are worse than
pretty
that here in
shocking.
the UK at the moment.
There's a manhole
Definitely.
cover.
There's the
Manhole cover.
DeLorean, says
Excellent
Kent.
manhole.
All the best stuff.
Now, there's a thing about manholes, right? Go back to that manhole. See the pattern on it?
Yeah.
There's people that literally go around the world and they what do you call it? Chronograph,
rubbings.
where they
Yeah,
take
rubbings.
rubbings of manholes.
Yeah, rubbings.
Charcoal rubbing.
Stencil them, yeah.
Yeah,
Stencil them. That's it.
They do the gravestones a lot around here.
yeah.
The artwork on gravestones and stuff.
I hope you're not going to get run over, mate, because you're on the road, right? Someone hasn't beeped
I'm
at
right
you
by
yet.
the curb. See?
It's okay. He's on the right side.
He's on the curb.
cop
We just
by the-
don't want to have any
There's
fatalities
a
on the
cop
show,
over there
please,
crying,
mate.
what is he looking at?
Yeah, he's a cop. You got to get
Come
first
on.
arrest on my show. Yes.
Stay away from
Do
that
something
manhole
stupid.
cover.
Better than being arrested for crimes
That's it.
against music, I guess.
All right. So what do
these
you?
days, when they see a camera phone, they run. So
So Andy, what are you thinking? You're going to have In-N-Out Burger or Taco Bell? What
no,
seems
none
to
of
be
this
the?
crap. I just stopped to stretch my legs.
That's hilarious.
I used to make my own burgers at home when I was a kid. When I ate meat, I wouldn't even enjoy an In-N-Out burger. Homemade burgers are the best.
Hey, Andy, Prometheus UK said nobody's rubbing my manhole.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that. That was pretty funny, Prometheus,
Yeah,
by the way.
Yeah, it was.
Better than a Volker joke, put it that way. Right, well, we'll go back to the picture of all of us because I think the tour's over, people.
Yeah.
That
was
was good.
an-
All right, so
That was an interlude, wasn't it?
Yeah, good on.
back to our
Field trip.
price watch. Anyone? We had the vintage Moog, the mini pops, the System 100 sequencer, the DX7 II, and the guitar centers. ripping off pricing of the T8. Which one was your favourite?
Mini Pops for me.
Mini Pops, yep.
Yeah, definitely. I'd buy that if I wanted one.
Mini Pops
If I
for
had
the
£2
right
lying
reason.
around, I'd buy it.
Yeah.
T8 for all the wrong reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. T8 for the hate reasons, Mini Pops for the love reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you chatties saying? Come on, chatties. Tell us what you want.
Talking about
What are you going to
burgers.
buy this week from Ranzee's weird, crappy
Yard sale.
price watch? Yeah.
Hey, go full screen. The guy's got somebody.
Oh, hang on.
Right.
Oh, you missed it.
Oh, I thought it was the cop car I
He
saw.
just lit somebody up. Yeah, he lit somebody up there.
Oh, no.
Come on, chase him.
Yeah.
We need instant replay.
I need to fly under the radar.
All right, I'll go back to the chatties now. Where are we? How do I swap that? There. Just as I do that, he'll tell me, go back to me again. No. What are they saying? They're saying, give me the 104 sequencer. It says, woohoo.
I'm probably with Kent.
Kent's going for the Polymoog. Now that's a surprise, matey.
It's been a while since he's had that leather jacket feeling. Enough of the leather jacket jokes. All right. How are we going for time? We're probably just about to wrap up the show, people. What do you think? Hey, Andy, you've hung around. How cool's that?
That's great.
Yeah, made it.
And you didn't get
Apart
told off
from
by the missus.
No, I had to go down and sort the Bluetooth mouse out. That's where I went missing before. So I'm the IT guy here as well, like many men. We're the IT guys, aren't we?
We are. It's like, yeah.
More often than not. Not all the time,
get-
but sometimes.
You get your name shouted from all corners of the house and you have to come running.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys know it. The struggle.
I'm
is
the
real,
iPhone
people.
expert in our house, and I'm not that good.
Wow. Yeah. So interesting thing tonight was the second year that my daughter's gone to one of these, mixed sort of disco thing events at the school. I asked the school. I said, "Look, any problem with me bringing the rocking chair and the shotgun? I can just sit out the front just to make sure none of these champs." They didn't like it. I don't want any of these kids googling at my daughter.
No. How old's your daughter?
Until she's at least 40.
How old's your daughter?
She's 14.
Wow. Right.
Yeah.
So it's the age where you have to be careful now. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I think she's not. I'm pretty lucky at the moment. I think she's not really interested at this stage. So we'll just keep riding with that false freedom for the moment, and we'll see when that changes very abruptly, very soon. I think. Yeah.
I never had daughters.
But anyway.
Two sons, so it was much easier, I think.
Yeah, 2 sons here as well. Yeah.
Two sons. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to teach them how to run away from the dad with the shotgun.
Yeah.
I had this girlfriend once who had a sister, and she lived in the country, and so I went out to visit her, and the sister's boyfriend was causing all sorts of drama with the family, and so I'm walking down the drive. It's really big long driveway, right, in the country. There's big houses, big long driveway. Walking down the driveway, and this bloke's bolting out the shed. And he's carrying like a rifle in his hand, and he's yelling all sorts of profanities at me. And I'm like, I'm not freaking staying around here. And I just did a U-turn, and I just went, jumped in my car and like fishtailed out of there. I'm ringing up the girlfriend. I'm saying, "What's up with your old man?" And she goes, "Oh, I'm really, really sorry, but he thought you were my sister's boyfriend, and he wanted to kill him." I'm like,
Oh, that's all right then. Yeah. I understand.
Maybe we should cool the relationship. Let me just say the relationship ended pretty quickly after that. I didn't really want to have anything to do with some crazy man. Yeah. But it is true. Men do chase you down
when I was-
driveways with shotguns.
When I was 17, I went to pick up this girl, and we've been dating for about probably 6 months or so. And I knocked on the door, and her father turned up, and he was the rudest man. He clearly didn't want me to be going out with his daughter, you know. And I said, I've come to pick up Helen. And he went, she's not in. So well, I'd pre-arranged. We're going out to the pictures. No, she's not in. She's not in. So I tootled off back to the car, and then Helen comes running out. I've been shouting at her father, saying, you know. But this guy was just you know, he didn't have a shotgun, but you could have imagined if he did have a shotgun.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Oh well.
So there you go.
Good old days.
Yeah.
These days you'd end up in jail if you did stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Andy, Mr. Synth Addict. Before we finish the show, you can unmute yourself, and you can anything you want to add before we finish up the show.
Oh, not much. I mean, if the signal's good, which it probably won't be, I'll probably do a telescope live stream from Yosemite. So if you guys are into that stuff, look on my Synthetic channel for more telescope fun.
Yeah, good stuff.
Awesome. And how long are you staying up there for? Just a day?
Just today and tonight. Yeah, just get out a little bit, see some nature, do a little astronomy, and then come back. So, I would say
clouds
longer,
Clouds. Good night for it.
Good night for astronomy.
Well, hopefully. I mean, the forecast is good, but you never know till you get up there, and it can change it can turn on a dime. I mean, you could be up there many years when we had the star parties up there with my astronomy club. You would have a really clear night, and the next night totally cloudy and rainy, and then clear again. So, like, whatever.
How far are you having to drive, Andy?
Hopefully there's no volcanic
How far are you
eruptions
having to
while
drive?
What's basically this local roads and highway, it's about 4 hours to get there.
Wow. Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's a
Bit
pretty
of a haul,
decent
but
drive.
it's worth it.
It is a decent drive, because that's pretty much, I'm doing 4 to 5 hours to drive down to look at houses. So,
yeah. But for California, that's actually a short drive. LA is about a 6 hour drive.
Yeah.
So from York to like almost to the bottom of England. I mean, I'm not talking about Cornwall, of course. That's like another.
We're looking at Somerset, which is pretty close to
pretty close.
You've got Somerset, Devon, Cornwall, and that's the end of the country.
Yeah. You got another couple of hours in Cornwall because of the way those road systems work. Yeah. Done that. Done that before. And nothing's changed since when I was there. Actually, which was a long time ago.
Cornwall is the most deprived county in England, apparently. Which, because it's very rural. I know Inky lives down there, but yeah, there's a lot of deprived. Yes.
Deprivation.
That's the word I was looking for. Because they don't.
It's not nice to have deprivation.
No, and I don't think the infrastructure isn't. The council isn't obviously, and the government aren't spending money in that area.
Well, you get that a little bit in Wales too, don't you? In parts of Wales.
Yeah.
Because there's like big pockets of land that just hasn't ever been developed properly. It's
Yeah,
like
I mean, back in the 90s, I did a lot of touring around, doing gigs in Wales, North Wales and South Wales, and lovely people, absolutely brilliant, to go there, really. But yeah, you're right, there are these sort of pockets of, it's slightly dodgy areas,
But very beautiful scenery.
Lovely places, lovely places.
Yeah. Good for a sort of country drive, a couple of hour country drive, visit a local Welsh bakery and, do something like that and then head on home if you're nearby. Like it, we used to sort of stay, around Liverpool area and then we'd pop down and then drive around a bit and then pop back out again.
Yeah. Drive into Rel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or keep going and get to Conway instead.
Close your eyes. All right. Should we end it, boys? I think
Yeah.
so.
Sounds like a
It's
good
just
thing.
hit midnight here in my part of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, go get your beauty
The
sleep.
witching
then.
hour.
And you, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Big thanks to all of you guys who were here for the first hour before I turned up, and obviously Henrik, if you're watching, mate, you're awesome. Thank you for taking the show on for the first hour.
We're getting this last minute B team stuff routine worked out really well now. Rant. It's like a well-oiled machine.
I tell you what, though, I much prefer using my software, not StreamYard.
vMix.
Because vMix is so much better.
I can imagine.
But yeah. Anyway, that's a topic for another day. Thanks to all the chatties. Many thanks for the chatties for hanging around and watching the show. And we'll see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah.
Be nice
everybody.
to each other. Say
Bye,
hi to your
chatties.
mates.
Bye, guys.
Don't forget to press
Cheers,
record.
Yeah.
See you later. I'm going to do
All right.
this and then this.